A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. Now for Jerry of the Circus.
I wish you'd tell me what you're going to do.
Don't be so much in a hurry. I show you, or maybe I let you show me.
How can I show you what you're going to do? Especially if I don't know what it's all about.
You see, Jerry, Alfredo don't know any better. He never knows what he is going to do next himself. So how can he tell someone else?
But he's putting those stakes into the ground for some reason.
I tell you, I do this to amuse Rags. He is an invalid. He must laugh and get well quick. I think he likes these pounding, eh?
You see, Rags, this is all for your own special benefit.
You better this morning, Mr. Rags, huh?
Then, yes. Gee, I was sure worried about him yesterday, though.
We all worry about our star performer. Eh, Alfredo?
There. Now that is finished. What you say? Yes, of course we worry about foolish dog that bangs his bad leg into a stake. He should be around Circus more and watch out for those stakes.
He usually does. Guess he just wasn't feeling so well. That's all right, though, Rags. The doctor says you can work in a few days. Say, what you doing with that wire?
You just hold your ponies.
You mean hold my horses?
What difference it make? Ponies, horses, all same animal.
Oh, I see. You're putting up a wire.
You see, Carlos, what a smart boy we have? After it is most done, he says, quick, what I am doing.
But it's so close to the ground.
That is so you won't fall so far.
Me? Oh, what do you mean?
I thought you say you want to learn to walk the wire.
Oh, gee, you really going to show me how? Oh, say, Rags, isn't it swell?
Now, Rags can see how quick you learn.
Or how quick I fall.
There, that is nice and strong now. Look, I show you how it goes first. See? Nice and easy, like this.
Gee whiz, it looks easy enough.
Here, I'll lend you an old pair of my shoes. They're too small for me. Probably they're much too big for you, but you can try.
Oh, say, here, Rags. You sit up on this top step and guard our wagon while I learn to walk on the wire.
No. Take it easy, Jerry.
Anyhow, I won't hurt myself falling.
Hey, don't watch your feet.
But how will I know where to put them?
Ah, that is the trick. Now, watch me. See? I tap very gently with my foot before I put it down on the wire. Then, you see, I put my weight on that foot and very slowly take up the other foot.
Oh, I see. Then you bring it around and feel for the wire before you change your balance.
That is right. Be sure you have a good place to put your foot down before you change your weight.
Yeah. Now let me try.
Hey, Alfredo, Jerry must think he is a windmill, huh?
He swings his arms around just like...
Hey, golly, I had to keep my balance.
Yes, I see you balance yourself nice and flat on ground.
Here, take my balancing pole.
Oh, hello. Maybe you like my parasol, hey, Jerry?
Oh, hello there, Carmen. Say, did you just see me fall?
Sure, she's how you fall. Every time we make mistake, Carmen is right there.
Yes, you fall just like Alfredo. He used to be all black and blue when he learned. You not like my parasol? It's better than balancing pole.
No, that's for girls, a parasol.
Maybe, but it is easier than pole. You see, it catch the air more like a sail. You remember, Alfredo, how easy it was the first time you used my parasol?
I never forget it. You see, Jerry, Alfredo and I learned with the pole, and Carmen learned with the parasol. So Alfredo told her how much harder the pole was. We had the wire up pretty high.
And Alfredo tell me he do the parasol easy, like rolling off a tree, huh?
You mean rolling off a log?
Yes, a log. What difference it makes? So he not wait to make the wire lower. No, he smart fellow. He tried the parasol up high.
And he come down plunk like parachute. Only the parasol turned wrong side up.
I bet you were black and blue that
I
time.
was, and so steep I could hardly walk. But I learned to walk with parasol after that.
He sure did. You see, it is entirely different. You wave the parasol over your head with one hand. But the pole, you hold that with both hands and not over your head.
I think I'll learn with a pole first and close to the ground.
You smart boy. All right, you ready now? Remember, don't look at the wire where your feet are, but watch it way at the other end.
Yes, because soon, by watching wire at the end, you'll learn which way it is swinging. And you keep steady by watching it where it is most steady.
Oh, I see. It might make me dizzy watching it sway back and forth under my feet, huh?
That is part of it. But the real reason is you must keep your body straight, not let it bend. You keep your balance better, not to mention looking a lot better.
Say, there's an awful lot to think about, isn't there?
At first, yes. But as soon as you get used to it, you find it comes automatic, without thinking.
Listen, you all talk. And look at poor Rags, lying there waiting for Jerry to try again and make a nice fall so he can laugh himself well.
Come on now, Jerry. Better try again.
Gee, this is fun. There. Now if I can just keep my balance till I get my foot up.
Remember, keep your eyes on the other end of the wire.
Good. You stand nice and straight like little Indian.
There. Now be sure you have your foot steady on the wire before you put your weight on it.
Good boy. Oh,
Hey,
phew. Lucky I catch you this time.
golly, thanks. You sure saved me another black and blue spot. I guess I stepped on my other shoe.
I should say you did. What do you boys do? Put great big shoes on Jerry. What do you try to do?
What do you mean? We not have shoes for boy, but these old ones of mine, they're too small for me.
So you think it not matter if they're too big for Jerry? You're both crazy. He step all over his feet. He never learn in these shoes.
They are kind of big.
Kinda. They're big enough for two of your feet. Look, Jerry, the Bendini men always crazy. Never think. Just like little boy. But the women, they're smart.
Like you, eh?
Yes, like me. Now I get you all pair of my shoes, Jerry. You see, our feet just about the same size.
Gee, they are at that.
And then someday, when these Bendini boys have time, we all three show you how to walk.
Golly, I really think I could learn if my shoes weren't too big. I kind of was beginning to get the hang of it.
Good. I look through my things and I find my old shoes for you.
Well, hello, folks. How's my partner coming along? Oh, well, good. You sound kind of perky there, Rags.
Too bad you come so late, Bump. Jerry here walk on wire.
You did? Well, good. Let's see.
No, not now. He cannot. Look at the shoes they put on the boy. It's a wonder he could walk at all. I'm going to get him some nice little ones of mine, and we try again some other time.
All right, if you say so. Oh, say, I hear we're in for some bad weather ahead. And they say the grounds are awful in the next town.
No, and it's so nice and sunny here. Where you hear that?
Well, I was talking to Mr. Randall when a telegram came through from the advance agent, warning us about the next stop.
Say, do they have to do that?
Why, sure. Every time we move, we get word what the place is like ahead.
What did the telegram say?
Well, now, if I remember correctly, it said, very slow lot, half-mile haul, load poles to caboose.
Doesn't make much sense to me. What does load poles to caboose mean?
Well, you see, Jerry, the poles on the wagon are always loaded in the same direction, so that when we get into a town, they'll all be heading the right way to unload.
Say, they had to think of everything, don't they?
They're very smart in this country.
But I didn't hear you say anything about the weather or the circus grounds being bad.
Well, as a matter of fact, the papers are full of the rains, and yes, and even floods they're having in the country we're heading for. But the telegram did say, very slow lot.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Well, slow lot means that work has to be done on the lot before we can pitch the circus. It may mean it's muddy or overgrown with weeds or...
Then very slow lot means more extra work.
Right. And when we can move right in, they say fast lot.
I see. That's easy once you know the code.
You know, I happen to remember that field we're coming to. We played there last year, and it's clay, which is plenty mean when it rains.
Gee, I should say so. You know, I'd kind of like to watch him unload sometime.
Well, why don't you?
Jerry, he likes to sleep too much, huh?
No, I'd like to get up if somebody'd wake me.
Oh, that is a good excuse.
I'll wake you up if you really want to get up, Jerry. But I won't get up myself. I guess it's the circus in my blood, but I always wake up when we stop at the runs. And then I turn over as if nothing had happened and settle down for my last snooze.
Gee, will you call me in the morning then, Bumps?
Rain or shine?
Sure. Who's afraid of a little rain? I like it.
That's the trooper. Okay, Jerry, I'll see that somebody takes you in charge in the morning and shows you the ropes.
That'll be swell.
Oh, I forgot. I forget to tell you boys why I came over here. Happy told me to tell you he thinks you better check on the wire, yes?
Why? What is wrong?
I don't know. He said when he tightened it yesterday, it did not seem to have the resiliency or something it should have.
These women, they never remember technical terms. The wire could be ready to fall apart, and you'd never know it until it dropped you to the ground.
Why should I learn? I have two perfectly good brothers. I guess they want to save their neck as well as I. I let them do the worrying.
Well, that's perfectly good reasoning for a woman. Well, boys, I guess it's up to you to see that the wire's checked.
You bet we see. Come, Alfredo.
Goodbye, Jerry. Don't forget to leave the shoes in the wagon.
I won't.
And remember, some morning soon we really teach you how to walk the wire. Goodbye, Bum. So long, Rex.
Goodbye.
Bye, folks. Golly, they sure move fast this time.
Well, I don't know if I blame them. After all, that wire's the only thing that keeps them hanging in midair. Why, that's their life. It certainly behooves them to take every precaution they can to see that it's in perfect condition.
I should say so. Well, Rags, we hope they find out what's wrong with the wire, huh? And next, we hope you hurry up and get that foot out of the splint so Bunce can do his act.
Well, I certainly miss that dog. Seems like I was coming to depend on him for an awful lot of laughs.
I'll tell you, Rags. If you feel good enough in the morning, I'll take you along when we watch them unload. Think you'd like that?
program. Quality of product is essential to continuing success. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed. So free and easy on the draw. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT. Sure thing. That's right. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. From the Civic Opera House in Chicago, Illinois, the Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Dennis Day, Rochester, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Chicago, which is just a stone's throw from Waukegan, we bring you something that was thrown back, and here he is, Jack Benny.
Thank you. Hello again, this is Jack Benny talking, and Don, I'm very proud of this turnout here in Chicago. Why, this auditorium is packed. Do you know that there are 3,724 people sitting in the audience?
3,724 people? How do you know?
I counted them as they came through the door. I forgot the tickets were free. But that's all right. I'll get them at the soda fountain. Yeah? Leave it to me.
Well, Jack, since we're broadcasting so close to Waukegan, I presume your father is in the audience.
Yes, he is, Don. He just got back from a trip to Florida, Havana, and Bermuda.
Oh, I thought your father spent most of his time at home.
And he used to, Don, but since he won the I Can't Stand Jack Benny contest, he traveled. He's been all over, you know.
Now, wait a minute, Jack. I thought according to the rules, your relatives weren't allowed to enter the I Can't Stand Jack Benny competition.
Don, when he heard about the contest, he disowned me. So it was perfectly legal.
Well, Jack, I'll bet you didn't get many contest letters from the people in Chicago. They seem to like you here.
They certainly do, Don. Did you see that reception I got at the station? Why, they tore the shirt right off of me. Of course, I don't blame them. After all, it isn't very often they get to see two movie stars at the same time.
Two movie stars?
I have a picture of Charles Boyer tattooed on my chest.
You have? Oh, I don't believe it. Open your shirt.
All right. There.
Well, sure enough, Charles Boyer. Jack, what's the idea?
It's a little trick I use for close-ups. You see, when I raise my arms, he smiles. You'll be surprised how this tattoo of Boyer on my chest has helped me to... Oh, hello, Mary.
Hello, Jack. Hello, everybody.
Gee, Mary, you're certainly looking cute today. I haven't seen you since we got off the train. How about a great big kiss?
Okay, open your shirt.
He's for close-up, for heaven's sake.
Mary, you mean Jack showed you that picture of Boyer on his chest?
Oh, he shows it to everybody. Jack's got the only shirt that works like a Venetian blind.
Venetian blind. Mary, you're just jealous because of the big reception I got when I arrived in Chicago.
Big reception?
Yes, when the train pulled in there were thousands of people at the station. Mayor Kelly was there. There were flags flying.
And a big brass band, too.
Yes, sir, and it was all for me.
It was not. They were welcoming a carload of coal.
Oh, is that what it was?
You should have known when the band played, keep the home fires burning.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Anyway, Mary, here we are in Chicago. You know, this is known as the Windy City.
I know, Jack. Yesterday I saw you chasing your hair down the street.
It wasn't my hair I was chasing. It happened to be a cat.
A cat?
Yes, a cat.
Then why were you trying to coax it back with a saucer of Fit shampoo?
Mary, if you can't be nice to me, think of Boyer. And besides, there are a lot of my friends here from Waukegan.
Oh, that's right, Jack. Your hometown is close to Chicago, isn't it?
Close. Well, I could take a silver dollar out of my pocket and throw it as far as Waukegan.
Let me see you do it.
I will not. Throw a dollar. You tricked me into that once. The string broke. By the time I found it, inflation set in. It was only worth 63 cents. So don't try to...
Cheer up, Chicago. Your dim out is bad, but here comes Harris, that bright little lad. Turn on that switch and let me loose. Oh, that opera. It's my bread and butter, Jackson.
A nice way over there. Hey, Phil, what do you want to come in with an entrance like that for? This dim out in Chicago is a serious thing.
You're not kidding, Jackson. It is. Last night, Frankie, my guitar player, wrote out a check, and it was so dark he signed somebody else's name.
What?
Now they got him charged with arson.
Arson? You mean forgery?
No, arson. That check was so hot it burned down the bank. Oh, Harris, you may not have bushy eyebrows, but you sure keep the country in an uproar.
Oh, fine.
You know, Phil, if Frankie did a thing like that, he must have been drinking.
No. Libby, no, not my little Frankie. He's on the wagon. Why, he hasn't had a drink. That kid hasn't had a drink since
when?
Wait a minute, I'm looking at my watch.
That's what I thought. Phil, forget about Frankie. After all, we came to Chicago to do a show, so let's do it.
Yeah, good old Chicago. This is a great town, Jackson, but it's a little windy, isn't it?
Well, of course, that's why they call it the Windy City.
Yeah. Say, Jackson, what was that I saw you chasing yesterday?
Oh, that was a cat.
Then how come when you caught it, you shook it out and put it on your head?
I didn't put it on my head. It jumped up there.
Then why did it have bangs?
Because it jumped on backward. If it happened to anybody. And, Mary, if I were you, I wouldn't be so smart just because we're away from home. You know, Marshall Fields is not unlike the May Company. You know that, and it won't be much fun working in the dark, either.
Say, Jackson, I meant to ask you, how come they got this dim out here in Chicago?
Phil, don't you know what's going on? Don't you read the papers? It's the kind of the coal shortage.
Yeah, isn't it awful?
Huh? Oh, hello, Dennis. Anyway, Phil, as I was saying, it's very easy to understand. You have to have coal to make electricity.
Last night it was so dark I couldn't find my way back to the hotel.
You couldn't, eh? You see, Phil, coal is the fuel they burn in boilers.
3 times I fell over a fire plug.
That's too bad. Now, they burn the coal to heat the water into steam. And then...
Finally, an old lady had to help me across the street.
Really? Then they use the steam...
She used to be a Girl Scout.
Good. Then they use the steam to spin the turbines which generate electricity.
Well, then how come we don't have a dim out in Los Angeles?
Well, out there we don't use coal, you see. We get our electricity from Boulder Dam.
Ooh, what he said.
Dennis, Boulder Dam is a place...
He said it again!
Oh, look, Dennis, I'm trying to explain something to Phil. Will you just be quiet until it's time for your song?
Okay, but I don't know if I'll be able to sing good. I'm tired.
Tired?
Yeah, I had an awful time on the train. It's tough trying to sleep between Mr. Harris and his guitar player.
Oh, you mean too crowded?
No, they kept setting the bottle on my stomach.
Oh.
And they were using my ear for an ashtray.
Oh, well, don't worry, Dennis. You can get plenty of sleep while we're here in Chicago. Now, let's have your song, and then we'll... Come in? Yes?
Well, here we are, Mr. Benny.
Huh?
Well, don't you remember? You invited us over. We're the quiz kids.
Oh, yes, the quiz kids. Look at that little one there. Take off your hats, kids. Take off your hats. Come right in. Or sit down and watch the show.
Watch the show? I thought you invited us over for a quiz contest.
A contest? You mean you kids want to compete with us? Don't be ridiculous. That would be like taking candy from a baby.
Oh, come now, Mr. Benny. You're not a baby.
That's not what I mean. When I gave you those 4 tickets, I merely wanted you to come over, enjoy the show, buy a few bottles of soda pop, and relax. That's all.
Oh, Jack, they're only kids. If they want a contest, let's give it to them.
But, Mary...
You can ask them easy questions.
What? Oh, sure. We'll play with them, have a lot of fun. Well, all right, kids, if that's what you want, we'll do it right after Dennis Day's song.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Benny.
You're welcome. Now, Dennis, we're ready for your song. What are you going to sing tonight?
Well, since this is Mother's Day, I'm going to sing Little Mother of Mine.
That's mighty nice, Dennis. And incidentally, you didn't forget to send your mother something, did you?
Oh, no, I sent her a big picture of me taken from the back.
From the back? Why in the world did you send her a picture like that?
Well, I wanted her to see how my new suit fits.
Oh.
She worries about things like that.
I know. Go ahead, let's have your song. While he's singing, I better think up some easy questions for the quiz kids.
Sometimes in the hush of the evening hour, when shadows creep from the west, I think of the twilight songs you sang, and the boy you loved to rest. A wee little boy with tousled hair, as long ago was I wonder if sometime you long for that one, little mother of mine. Stalwart in body and strong, you'd hardly know that he was the lad you loved with your slumber song. The years have altered the form and the life, but the heart is unchanged by time, and still his only pure eyes of home, little mother of mine, oh, little
ladies and gentlemen, for our feature attraction, we are going to have a contest between the Lucky Strike Kids and the Quiz Kids. These children are here tonight to match wits with Mary Livingston, Don Wilson, Dennis Day, and Phil Harris, who are all raring to go.
We'll learn them, eh, fellas?
That gives you an idea, folks. Now, I, of course, will be the quiz master.
You'll be the quiz master?
Certainly. When I went to school, I was smart as a whip.
Go on, you even needed a blueprint to open your lunchbox.
Oh, stop, will you? Now, come on, let's get started with our questions. First, hold it a minute. Hello?
Oh, Mr. Benny, this is Rochester.
I'm glad you called, Rochester. Does the manager of the hotel find a room for me?
That's why I called. You got the bridal suite.
The bridal suite? Good. Did you move all my stuff in?
No, I'm waiting for you to get here.
Why?
I want to carry you over the threshold.
Oh, stop being silly and get my clothes unpacked.
I can't do that, boss, until I shovel the rice out of the room.
Shovel the rice out? Who had that bridal suite before me?
Tommy Manville.
Now, How do you know?
There's a lawyer and a minister still sitting here.
Oh, well, hurry up and get that room cleaned up.
Okay, but it'll take hours and hours.
Oh, Rochester, there couldn't be that much rice there.
There couldn't. When I sit down in the middle of the room, I look like a raisin.
Never mind that. Never mind. Unpack my clothes and lay out a clean shirt. I'm going to the Chez Paris tonight.
Okay, I'll give you the one with the cellophane front so Charles Boyer can see the floor show.
Good. Goodbye, Rochester.
Goodbye.
Oh, say, Rochester, did you do what I told you about the candles? You know, there's a dim out here.
Yes, sir. I went to the store and bought 85 of them.
85 candles? How'd you get that many?
When I told the man they were for you, he just handed them over and said, "Tell Mr. Benny happy birthday."
Well, that was very nice. Goodbye, Rochester.
Goodbye.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're all set for the battle of wits. The Quiz Kids versus the Benny Kids. And may the best team win.
You mean may the better team win?
Yes. Better. I used to know that when I went to school, too. All right, let's go. And now I'll call the roll. First, the Quiz Kid. Harvey.
I'm Harvey Bennett Fishman. I'm 15 years old, and I'm a junior at the South Shore High School.
Now, Joel.
I'm Joel Kupperman. I'm 9 years old, and I am in 5A in the Folsom Public School.
Oh, yes. You're the little fellow who's so clever in mathematics. Tell me, Joel, if an egg costs 5 cents, how much would a 3-egg omelet cost?
15 cents.
That's right.
He's never been to the Chez Paris.
Mary, you mean they charge more there?
Boyer's going to bed early tonight.
He is not. We can always go out for a walk. Now, Ruthie.
I'm Ruthie Duskin. I'm 11 years old, and I'm in the 8th grade at the University of Chicago Laboratory School.
Cute, isn't she? Now, Richard. Richard.
I am Richard Leitzler. I'm 6 years old, and I am in 1A at Shakespeare Public School.
6 years old. Gosh, it seems like... I wish you could see them both, the listeners. Gosh, it seems like only yesterday that I was 6.
Gee, Mr. Denny, that must have been about 30 years ago.
31, Richard, 31. Have a bottle of pop on me. And now for the Benny Kid. Philip?
I'm Philip Harris. I live in Encino, California, and 3 nights a week I attend the Hollywood Recreation Pool Room.
What do you specialize in, Philip?
The 4-ball in the side pocket.
Very good, very good. And now, Mary.
I am Mary Livingston. I live in Beverly Hills, and I graduated from the May Company.
Oh, that's a lovely place. What did you learn there?
If you've worn the stockings, madam, you cannot exchange them.
Very good. Isn't she bright? Now, Donald.
I am Donald Wilson. I'm 6 years old, and I weigh 243 pounds.
He's the cutest one of all. What is your ambition, Donald?
I haven't any. That's why I'm so fat.
I thought so. Sit down, but easy. Now, Dennis.
I am Dennis. Dennis
Day. Dennis Day. How old are you, Dennis?
I'll be 1 in December.
You'll, Wait a minute. You'll be 1?
Yes, my mother's raffling me off.
Well, you're a turkey if I ever saw one. And now, folks, that you've met all the kiddies, we will proceed with the battle of wits. And for each question used, I will score 1 point for the side that answers correctly. And furthermore, I am personally awarding a prize of $10 to the winning team.
Well, that's fair enough.
You'll find out.
Now, the first question this evening comes from Mrs. Leonard Penchel of Chicago. Listen carefully, Harvey. A coleoptera, a musca domestica, and a lepidoptera were having a bit of a tete-a-tete on a screen door. Now, if you suddenly appeared with a fly swatter, one of the party would leave quite hastily. Which one would it be? The coleoptera, the musca domestica, or the lepidoptera? Have you got the answer, Harvey?
Well, the musca domestica would leave because it's the common housefly.
Oh. I mean, very good. Very good, Harvey. That's 1 point for the quiz kid. Now, Dennis, in order to be absolutely fair, I'm going to ask you a question along the same line. Now, listen carefully. What fly would you associate with butter? That might be a little tough, so I'll put it this way. Butter is associated with what fly?
A butterfly.
Ruthie, I didn't ask you. Dennis, you didn't hear that answer, did you?
No, I've got ashes in my ears.
Oh. Mary Livingston.
The butterfly.
Correct. And there's a point for the Benny kids. Both sides are even.
Wait a minute, Mr. Benny.
Sorry, Harvey, but we won on a technicality. Now, let's see.
Oh, brother, wait till you get on their show.
Mary, please. Now, here's a problem of mathematics sent in by Clifford Gordon, 10th Street, Waukegan, Illinois.
Well, gee, Mr. Benny, if it's a problem in mathematics, just ask Joel Kupperman.
Oh. I have another question. From Julia Sinekin, Waukegan, Illinois. I think you can answer this, Ruthie.
I'm ready, Mr. Benny.
Now, this problem is in the field of ichthyology.
Ichthyology? What's that?
How do I know? Anyway, Ruthie, name the 5 types of fishes in order of their development and give examples of each. Go ahead.
The Seismostomata, which are lamprey eels and hagfishes. Next comes the elasmobranchi, the sharks and rays.
That's right.
Next, the gonoidii, which are the armored fishes.
Uh-huh.
After that come the teleostomi, the true fishes.
Yes.
And last of all, the dipnoi, which are the lung fishes.
Isn't that amazing? Very good, Ruthie. Now, Philip Harris.
Yes, sir.
I think it's only fair that I ask you the same type of question. How do you spell fish? Come on, Philip, go ahead. How do you spell fish? F-I-S-C-H. That's right. That's right, Joe Fish. I know him well. That's 2 points for the quiz kids and 2 points for the Benny kids. Now, Richard, here's a problem in mathematics that comes from Dave Wolf of Chicago.
Well, Mr. Benny, if it's a problem in mathematics, why don't you ask Joel Kupperman?
Harvey, don't tell me how to run my contest. I'm going to ask Richard. Now, Richard, 2 men who earn $450 and $150 a month, respectively, decide to build a house and divide the cost in proportion to their income. Each of these 2 men has 3 sons who help with the work, but they cannot work full time. One works every day, the second every other day, the third every third day, and so on. Are you following, Richard?
Yes, are you?
Don't worry about me, Bub. Now, they all work the first day, and they finish the house the second day. They all work together. Each guy has 3 kids. Huh? Phil, go away, will you? You know from nothing. Now, Richard, one joint owner has to pay $1,500 more than the other. How much did the house cost, and how long did it take to build it? Well, Dennis, I see you got your hand up. What is the answer?
Butterfly.
Right, that's 3 for the Benny kids and 2 for...
Wait a minute, Mr. Benny. We were on another question.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Well, Richard, have you got the answer yet? Richard?
Yes, sir. The house cost $3,000, and it would take 60 days to build it.
Excellent. $3,000 and 60 days is correct.
How do you know?
I trust Richard. Now, let's see.
Oh, Mr. Benny.
What is it, Dennis?
Button your shirt. Charles Boyer is peeping out.
Oh, yes. Well, Richard earned another point for the quiz kids, making it 3-3. Now, Mary, here's your question.
The answer is 15.
Wait till I ask you. Now, Mary, concentrate. If you had 20 apples and your mother took away 10 and gave you back 5, how many would you have?
15. You heard me.
How did you know I was going to ask you?
Boyer told me.
Now, cut that out. Boyer told you.
I told you to button your shirt.
Quiet. Now, here's a question for Donald Wilson. Donald. Oh, Don.
Hey, Fatty.
Yes?
Thank you, Richard. Now, Donald, here's a question from Bert Scott of Salt Lake City. Now, Donald, if you were on your way to a drugstore, and the drugstore was 2 miles away, and you could make it in 17 minutes, but you had to cross a bridge. And on this particular day, the bridge was washed out, and you had to row a boat across the river.
How wide is the river?
350 feet. But there's a strong current carrying you downstream at the rate of 3.6 miles per hour. So it takes you an extra 23 minutes to reach the grocery store. Now, here's the question. What would you buy when you got there?
A package of Lucky Strikes.
Absolutely correct. Now, Donald, why would you buy that package of Lucky Strikes?
Because Lucky Strikes means fine tobacco.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, they're so round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Very good elaborated. The score is now 5-3 in favor of the Benny kid. Now, Harvey, here's a question for you.
Well, if it's mathematics, ask Joe Kupperman.
I just changed it to history. Now, listen. What did the United States purchase from Denmark after World War I?
The Virgin Islands for $21 million.
You're wrong. It was $25 million.
It was $21 million.
The United States paid $25 million.
Jack ought to know they borrowed the money from him.
Certainly. I remember when I took Woodrow Wilson down into my vault. Now, another question in history. Dennis, who was the first president of the United States? Come on, Dennis. Who was the first president of the United States? Come on. George.
My name is Dennis.
I know. Now, who was the first president of the United States? He was the father of our country. George Jessel. No. Anyway, I'm asking Dennis.
My name is George.
It is not. All right, Phil, I'll ask you. Who was the first president of the United States? George. What do women do on Monday? Washing? That's right, George. Washing. There. What am I sticking out at you?
Your tongue.
Correct. George Washing tongue. The score is 6-3 in favor of the Benny kid. We win, and the $10 bill goes to me.
Wait a minute. This is a frame-up.
Frame-up? These questions were on the up and up.
Well, you were cheating.
Oh, yeah? Well, it's a good thing Richard didn't say that. Believe me.
Oh, come on, kids. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Wait a minute. How do you like that? A bunch of sore losers. Play, genius.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And in a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
The famous tobacco auctioneers are on tonight's program. Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs of Goldsboro, North Carolina. Mr. F.E. Boone of Lexington, Kentucky.
At 49 out of 49, American.
Russell Rysdale speaking for Lucky Strike. LSMFT.
Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Good health to all from Rexall. Yes, it's Sunday, time for the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show, presented by the makers of Rexall Drug Products and 10,000 independent Rexall family druggists.
Good evening. This is your Rexall family druggist taking a little time from behind the prescription counter this Sunday evening to speak for all 10,000 of us. The 10,000 independent druggists who have added the word Rexall to our own store names. You can always tell us by the orange and blue Rexall sign on our windows. The sign means that we carry the 2,000 or more drug products made by the Rexall Drug Company. They range all the way from aspirin to penicillin, and they're as fine and pure and dependable as science can make them. We independent druggists recommend them to our customers because we know you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall. And now your Rexall family druggist brings you the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show. Written by Ray Singer and Dick Chevrolet, with Elliot Lewis, Walter Tetley, Robert North, Walter Sharp and his music, yours truly, Bill Foreman, and starring Alice Faye and Phil Harris. For the first time in months, Phil has a chance to get away for a short trip. He's planned to take a real man's vacation, but at the last minute, Alice decided to go with him. And as we look in, they're all packed and ready to leave.
Well, I got everything loaded in the car. We'll be ready to leave pretty soon. Alice, are you sure you want to go with me?
Oh, I can hardly wait, Phil. This trip will be like a second honeymoon. Gee, it's going to be romantic.
If you say so.
And, honey, on the way down, you can put your arm around me like you did on our first honeymoon.
Hey, I got a better idea. We can sit in the back of the car and smooch a little.
Would be kind of nice to... Say, wait a minute. If we're going to be in the back, who's going to be driving?
Oh, I forgot to tell you, honey, Frankie's going with us.
Frankie's going to Palm Springs with us?
Oh, we ain't going to Palm Springs.
Why not?
Oh, Frankie don't like it there. You know, he's allergic to the heat. When he sits out in the sun, he gets fried.
I've seen him sit in a dimly lit room and get in the same condition. Where are we going on our vacation, or hasn't Lord Remley decided yet?
Yeah, he decided. He wants us to go hunting in the High Sierras.
Now, Phil Harris, you've got to make a decision. Frankie wants to go to the High Sierras, and I want to go to Palm Springs. Now, whom are you going to please, Frankie or me?
Me. We're going fishing at Lake Henshaw.
Oh, but, Phil, I want to go to Palm Springs. If we don't go there, I just won't go with you. Or don't you want me to go?
How can you say that? What fun is it for two guys to go along fishing without a woman tagging along? Why, I wouldn't want you to miss the fun of sleeping outdoors on the hard, cold ground or eating soggy, cold, fried eggs. And just think of the thrill you'll get when you're baiting our hooks with those nice, fat, squirmy worms.
He faints every time somebody mentions worms. Phil, are you all right?
Yeah, I'll be okay. Alice, don't ever let me say that word again. Look, honey, can't we please go fishing?
All right, we'll go fishing. After all, it's your vacation. I'd rather go to Palm Springs, but I won't be obstinate.
Now you're talking like my baby, you pretty thing. You know something? You're being big about this, and to show you my appreciation, I'm going to do something big for you. I'm going to kiss you. Pucker up.
Good morning, Philip.
Go away, Brownie. We've already bought some Girl Scout. We don't need nothing. Come here, Alice.
Philip.
What now?
How many times have I asked you not to kiss my sister in front of me? You know it makes me nauseous.
Willie, if you don't mind, I like to have Phil kiss me.
Why?
Because it's...
Well, think of something, will you? You never had to think before we were married.
Not waste time talking. Let's get started on our trip.
We'll get started when... Our trip.
Yes, Alice invited me to go along. I have the whole thing planned. We'll go to Ensenada for the Grunion Run.
Willie, I don't think the Grunion Run in March.
Oh, yes, Alice. The Grunion are running in Ensenada next week.
I don't care if they're running or not. I ain't interested in seeing no Mexican track meet.
A Grunion run is not a track meet. A Grunion is a vertebrate member of the species Piscatorial.
Oh, you're joshing me.
No, really. It's of the species Piscatorial.
Believe me, it's better off as a track meet. Now, we're going fishing at Lake Henshaw, and I don't want you along because you bother me.
Oh, but Phil, if we're only going fishing, he won't get in your way.
The heck he won't. Frankie and me took him fishing with us last time, and it was very annoying. We spent most of the time dragging him back in a boat.
Why? Did he fall overboard?
No, we kept getting him confused with the live bait.
Philip, I want to go to Ensenada.
And I want to go to Palm Springs.
I tell you, we're going to Lake Henshaw.
Well, if everybody's ready, let's leave for the High Sierra. I can't wait to get started hunting.
Frankie, I told you we're not going to the High Sierra. Remley, what are you made up for?
This is my hunting outfit. Buckskin jacket, coonskin cap, powder horn, and flintlock.
Thank you, Gabby Hayes. Of all the ridiculous costumes, why have you got your guitar strung over your shoulder?
Oh, I use that as a lure. When I play Ain't She Sweet in B flat, it sounds like a perfect moose call.
You could play that thing in any key and it'd sound like a moose call. Remley, I told you we're not going hunting. I've decided that we're going fishing.
You've decided? Curly, you're being very selfish. You're not the only one involved. The least you can do is consider somebody else's feelings. Like your dear wife. Alice, do you want to go hunting or fishing?
I want to go to Palm Springs.
Who asked you?
Doesn't anybody care what I want to do?
No!
Hey, Curly, don't tell me this is going too.
Yeah, this is going. We got to take him fishing with us.
What for? You know the fish kept throwing him back last time.
We'll sharpen his ears and use him for an anchor.
Why do you two always pick on me?
Willie, why do you let them pick on you? If it were me, I'd haul off and punch them right in the nose.
Well, I know, Alice, but you're stronger than I am. But just you fellas wait till I get my dynamic tension course. Then I'll take you two bullies and I'll thrash you.
All right, Louie, drop that gun. Get lost, Mammy Yoakum. Go whip up a batch of gingerbread men. Get away from me.
Oh, this is going to be a Jim Dandy vacation. A very congenial group of enemies.
I still think we ought to go to Ensenada.
Ensenada?
Yeah, Ensenada. He wants to go down there and watch the bunions run. Now, come on, if everybody's ready, let's get going, huh? And please, let's not have any more arguments. I got the park parked out in front, and I'd like to get started so we can get there before dark.
Oh, Phil, I'd like to stop at Mother's to see how the children are behaving.
Oh, well, don't worry about the children, Alice. Mother took them down to City Hall this morning for the ceremonies.
Ceremonies? Are they getting married?
Don't be silly. No, it's Boys' Week in town, and the boys are taking over all the official positions today.
Oh.
Hey, Frankie. Hey, kid, we're going to have a wonderful time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got fishing equipment for everybody, and Remley, now you can leave that gun here. You won't need it for fishing, and I don't want no loaded gun in the car.
Curly, please, I know better than to walk around with a loaded gun. I don't have shells in here. I'll show you.
Remley, don't fire that thing.
I tell you, it's not loaded. Look. Eh? Bet you all thought it was going to go off. I know what I'm doing every minute. I'm an expert with guns. And I got to have this slow trigger fixed.
What are you trying to do? Get us all arrested? Now, come on, let's get in the car. It's getting late, and we got a 5-hour drive ahead of us.
Phil, what's that card tied to your steering wheel?
The card? I don't know. I'll see. Oh, it's an invitation. It says they want me in traffic court tomorrow morning to... Oh, no! Oh, no, a parking ticket in front of my own house. I'm just going to ignore it.
Curly,
have to obey the law. When you get a ticket, you gotta answer it.
But this ticket says I gotta be in court tomorrow morning. That'll ruin our vacation.
Tear it up.
Bill, you can't tear it up or ignore it. Why don't you go down to City Hall and pay the fine now? It'll only take a few minutes.
I'll go down there, but I ain't gonna pay no fine. I'm gonna raise the roof.
Bill, just pay the fine. Don't start anything, or they're liable to throw you in jail.
Let them throw me in jail. I know my rights. I'm going down to that City Hall and tell them off. Come on.
Is east and west is west, and the wrong one I have chose. Let's go where I'll keep on wearing those frills and flowers and buttons and bows and rings and things and buttons and bows. Don't bury me in this prairie, take me where the seamen grow. Let's move down to some big town where they love the gal by the cut of her clothes, and I'll stand out in buttons and bows.
We'll love you in buckskin or skirts that you've homespun.
Oh, but I'll love you longer, stronger, where your friends don't tote a gun. My bones denounce the buckboard bounce and the cactus hurts my toes. Let them moose break out, keep using those silks and satins and linens that shows, and I'm all yours with buttons and bows.
Home on the range doesn't mean a thing to me.
'Cause the city's where I feel at home, and not the lone prairie. My bones denounce the buckboard bounce, and the cactus hurts my toes. Let them moose work out, keep using those silks and satins and linen that shows, and I'm all yours in buttons and bows.
Give me Eastern trim,
where women are women in high steel clothes and peekaboo clothes and French perfume.
Let's box the room,
and I'm all yours
in buttons and bows.
Fine wife. Her husband faces a jail sentence, and she sings.
Oh, come on, Brimley. Alice, you and Willie wait in the car. We'll only be a few minutes in City Hall.
Now, Phil, please don't offend the police commissioner.
Don't worry. Brimley, I ain't going to see no police commissioner. I'm going over his head and see the mayor. I know I'll get a square deal from him. I'll see the... Brimley, why are you still carrying that gun?
It's for you. In case they put you in jail, you can blast your way out.
Don't be funny at a time like this, huh? Let's go in.
Hey, Curly, what are all these kids doing here?
I don't know. Willie said something about Boys Week. Here's the mayor's office. I ain't going to have no trouble with him. He's a good Joe, and he'll give me a square deal. Mr. Mayor,
Take your hat off when you talk to me, man!
Julius, what are you doing behind the mayor's desk?
This is Boys Week, and I've been appointed mayor.
You're the mayor?
Yeah, and don't let me catch you guys tapping my wires. Now, what do you want?
Well, it's this way, Julius.
I'll thank you to address me as Your Royal Highness.
Your Royal Highness?
Don't stand there, peasants. Kneel down. Go on, grovel a little.
Hey, Curly, step to one side. I want to get a bead on him.
Oh. Can't do that in here.
Don't talk till you got my permission. Now, state your case and make it snappy. I'm in a surly mood today.
Well, I came to see you about a ticket.
$50 or 50 days.
I didn't tell you what it's for yet.
I got no time for details.
Oh, come on, Curly. We won't get any square deal here.
I heard that and I said it. Just state your case and I assure you that I'll hand down a just decision. Now, let me hear your entire story.
Okay. My car was parked outside. It wasn't moving. The motor was dead.
Guilty of murder in the first degree.
Will you stop that? Look, Julius, Your Royal Highness, I got a ticket that says I got to be in court tomorrow, and, well, I can't be, so I want to pay my fine now.
Why why can't you be in court tomorrow?
I'm driving up to Lake Henshaw for 5 days to do a little fishing.
Well, if you want to go fishing, I ain't going to spoil your vacation. If you want to drive up to Lake Henshaw, go ahead. I'll let you pay your fine now.
Oh, thank you, Julius. What's the fine?
I'm revoking your driver's license for 5 days.
Now, you can't do that. Look, Julius, I'm going
Curly, don't argue with him. Give me your license. You don't need it. I'll drive.
Okay. Then you can drive us up to Henshaw.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I got a special driver's license. It only allows me to drive when I'm going in the direction of the High Sierras.
All right. So we'll go hunt.
Good. Let's get started.
Not so fast. Mr. Remley, what are you doing carrying that rifle in the city limits?
I'm taking it to go hunting.
$50 for carrying a concealed weapon.
This gun ain't concealed. I'm carrying it in the open. You can see it.
Not when I close my eyes like this. Sorry, Mr. Remley, but the law says I got to revoke your hunting license.
Joke's on you, Junior. You can't revoke my hunting license because I haven't got one.
Well, I got to revoke something. So I'll revoke your driver's license.
Julius, I'm warning you.
All right, Remley, let me handle it. Julius, look. I know you don't care about us, but Mrs. Harris is going to be with us, and you don't want to spoil my wife's vacation, do you?
His wife? What a golden opportunity. I hereby revoke your marriage license.
Why, you little...
You be quiet or I'll revoke your birth certificate, too.
Oh, this is going to be a great vacation. This is fine. I can't go fishing or hunting. I can't drive. I'm not married. And if I say one word more, I won't even be born.
Oh, Julius, be a sport. Will you give me back my license so we can go hunting?
I don't want it. I think hunting is cruel.
What's cruel about it? The animal has the same chance that we have. Sometimes the animal's got the advantage. Like when Elmer went after the bear. You know what happened to him?
No, what did happen? Tell me all about it, Mac.
Now Elmer Jones arose at dawn and put his hunting breeches on, then looked up at the shotgun on the wall. He made his mind up then and there to bag himself a hunk of bear. At hunting, he had plenty on the ball. He milked the cow and fed the hog, then kissed his wife and called the dog, picked up his gun and started on his quest. He crossed the creek and hit the trees, threw back his head and sniffed the breeze, let out a yell and pounded on his chest.
Here comes Elmer, Elmer's got his gun. Here comes Elmer, run, bear, run.
He hunted all the morning through, but not a bear came into view while Elmer's thoughts were on the kitchen range. For he was sick as he could be of lamb and chicken fricassee and craved a mess of bear meat for a change. Poor Elmer's mind was in a fog. He paused and sat down on a log to get his faculties back in a groove. He heard a noise, and standing there before him was a grizzly bear, and figured it was time he made his move.
Here comes Elmer, Elmer's got his gun. Here comes Elmer, run, bear, run.
He grabbed his gun and turned around, but Mr. Bear just stood his ground, and Elmer said, it's either me or thou. The gun refused to go, and so he knew that somebody had to go, and said, farewell, I'm leaving as of now. Then Elmer's shoulders sprouted wings, his feet developed inner springs. To linger longer, he was disinclined. He ran so fast through muck and mire, his ankles set his socks afire, but still that bear kept coming on by.
Here comes Elmer, Elmer's got his gun. Here comes Elmer, run, bear, run.
A deer with antlers 8 feet wide got in the way of Elmer's stride as both of them went heading for the brush. Then Elmer said, now listen, son, if that's the fastest you can run, move over, because I'm really in a rush. The bear was gaining inch by inch and finally reached out for the clinch as Elmer saw the fence around his place. He leaped the fence and landed hard, jumped 60 feet across the yard, and slammed the kitchen door in Bruin's face.
Here comes Elmer, Elmer's got his gun. Here comes Elmer, run, bear, run.
The bear was trying to get inside while Elmer sought a place to hide, and Mrs. Jones began to pull her hair. She said, this fuss has got to stop. Why don't you let that matter drop? And Elmer said, honey, you go tell it to the bear. Then Elmer's wife said, listen, Goon, how come you think you're Daniel Boone whose appetite on bear meat used to thrive? He said, I'm sure that you're aware that Daniel always killed his bear, but honey, I done brought this baby home alive.
Here comes Elmer. Elmer's got his gun. Here comes Elmer. Run, bear, run.
Well, that's what happened to Elmer. How'd you like the song, Julius?
$50 for disturbing the peace.
Now, let me tell you something. You can't get away with this. Besides, I ain't got $50 on me.
Ain't got $50, huh? Well, in that case, you'll have to leave that gun here as security.
It's my gun, and I'm not going to give it to anybody.
Frankie.
Hmm?
If the mayor wants your gun, give it to him. Let him have it.
Yeah. I see what you mean. And just to make sure it isn't loaded, before we leave, I'll pull the trigger. Like this. Here's the gun, Julius. Come on, Curly.
How long do you think it'll take, Frankie?
Oh, should go off before I can say Jack Robinson.
Nice and quiet in here. Do you think, maybe...
Help! Stop them two anarchists! They tried to assassinate the mayor!
We should have known Birdshot couldn't pierce his ornery little hide. Come on, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Now, look, let's get started on our trip before we get pinched.
How are we going to go on a trip when both of us had our license taken away?
We'll let Alice drive.
Alice? Please, Curly, I'd like to get there in one piece. She don't drive a car, she aims it.
Stop worrying, will you? She ain't hit nothing in weeks. She'll get us there.
Where have you fellows been?
Yes, what took you so long?
Oh, Julius is the mayor, honey, this week. And he revoked our driver's license, so get behind the wheel. You'll have to drive.
Oh. You mean you fellas are not allowed to drive? You mean I'll be at the wheel and the car will have to go wherever I aim it?
Yeah. Yeah, now let's get started for Lake Henshaw.
Lake Henshaw? Oh, what a naive little character I'm married to.
Oh, goody, Alice. If they can't drive, that means we can go to Ensenada.
Pipe down, you grunion chaser. Palm Springs, here we go.
All right. So we'll go to Palm Springs, but let's get started.
Alice, be careful how you drive. You know, you're pretty reckless, and you don't...
Please, Frankie, don't tell me how to drive. I know exactly
Alice,
what I'm
don't
doing.
turn around and talk to him. Look where Alice... Oh, Alice, look out for that car. Look out.
What a crash. Alice, you all right?
Yes, I'm all right. Phil, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. I always ride with my head in the glove department. I didn't know that car was that big. I
heard the crate.
Fenders went everywhere. Alice, look at the car. Now you've wrecked it and spoiled my whole vacation.
Oh, I'm sorry, Phil. Do you hate me, lover?
Well, I never thought of it before, but I'm starting to work on it now.
Well, I guess now we can't go anyplace.
Correction, lady. You're going someplace. That was my police car you hit, and you're spending the next few days in the cooler. Come along with me.
All right, officer, just wait a minute now. You can't arrest her. I'm married to her, and I won't let you take her.
Oh, you won't, huh? Just for that, wise guy, you can spend a few days in the same cell with your wife.
Well, I'd like to, but I couldn't. People will talk.
Why?
Well, you see, the mayor just revoked our marriage license, and, she is no longer my wife. Take her away, officer. Goodbye, lady. I tell you, Frankie, women should never be able to drive a car. You can't let them have it. They never...
Alice and Phil will be back in just a moment. But right now, our Rexall family druggist has a customer.
Have you noticed how I always ask for Rexall drug products lately?
Indeed I have, ma'am, and I'm very happy about it.
It's those wonderful laboratory tests the Rexall people make on their different drug products that convinced me. I'm glad you told me about them.
Then maybe I'd better tell you something else. A lot of Rexall drug products get much more than just laboratory testing.
Oh, why? What do you mean?
Well, you see, ma'am, some drug products can be made more effective if they're tested by actual use. And that's why, in a lot of instances, the makers of Rexall drug products conduct what they call use trials.
Use trials?
Yes, ma'am. Suppose Rexall scientists have developed a new throat lozenge. Now, this throat lozenge may be ideal by all scientific standards, but you can't reproduce the human throat in a laboratory. So, under the watchful eyes of Rexall scientists, as many as 200 people will try this lozenge in actual use, and for a considerable period of time.
Oh, I see. Each one of those people is a use trial?
Exactly. Some of them may not like the taste of the lozenge. Others will think it's too small or too large. Some may say it dissolves too fast, and still others, well, they may not like the color.
Well, all those things are important.
And that's exactly why these use trials enable Rexall people to make their products completely acceptable long before we ever get them in our stores. And that's another reason why we independent Rexall druggists are proud of the orange and blue Rexall sign on our windows. The sign tells the world ours are the only stores where you can get the 2,000 or more drug products made by the Rexall Drug Company. And we tell you, you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall.
This is Phil again. Next week is National Boys Club Week. Over 250,000 boys in 300 clubs throughout the country are now enjoying the benefits of the Boys Club movement. They're developing the character, self-reliance, and tolerance so needed by America's citizens of tomorrow. So support the Boys Club in your town. If you don't have one, start one. Good night.
Good night and thanks.
Good night.
This program was produced and directed by Paul Phillips. The part of Frankie Remley was played by Elliot Lewis, and Julius was played by Walter Tetley. Included in today's cast was Alan Reed. Alice Faye appeared through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox. This is Bill Foreman wishing good health to all from Rexall.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Here they come, America. Soldiers in Greasepaint. Ladies and gentlemen, this is truly a program of Thanksgiving. It is a salute to the patriotic fervor of men and women from every branch of the theatrical profession who have done such a magnificent work entertaining the members of our armed forces both here and overseas. It is an humble acknowledgement of the ceaseless and untiring efforts of another group of self-effacing people. The workers who comprise USO Camp Shows, the organization that makes the wheels of a huge and complex machine run smoothly. In the next 45 minutes, you will hear from almost every corner of the globe. Washington, Guadalcanal, San Francisco, Panama. Here in our Hollywood studio is another battalion of soldiers in Greasepaint. There's Jack Benny, Judith Anderson, Francis Langford, Kay Francis, John Garfield. But to read the entire roster of names would deprive you of precious minutes of enjoyment. So let me turn the microphone over to a gentleman who will help manage the proceedings, your first host for this morning, Bob Hope. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Bob saluting the USO Hope.
A great movement that's lifting the morale of our boys, whether they're in Alaska, Australia, or Albuquerque, so they'll never feel like the part I get of the turkey. Well, that's my opening smash. Well, I'm very proud to be on this show. I've just returned from a tour of the Army camps in Europe to boost the morale of the soldiers in the United States. And I want to say the USO sends actors to all the battlefronts. In fact, it's sort of a low circuit with foxholes. I have to bolster that a little, didn't I? I had a great time with the fellas over there. In fact, I still have a bad case of crap game knee. And I'll never forget the plane trip across the Atlantic. What thrills. You can take my pilot's word for it. He told me all about it when I came to in England. I really wasn't scared. I read a good novel all the way across. On the way back, I read the second page. I wasn't nervous, but I was shaking so hard the pilot cut out both motors and my knees kept the plane in the air. Halfway across, the stewardess tapped me on the shoulder and said, in case of trouble, the pilot is the last one to leave the plane. I said, why tell me? She said, well, I don't want to make you nervous, but there he is down there. And what a time we had in London. The fog there isn't exactly thick, but I saw an air raid there one night, and the anti-aircraft shot down 3 submarines. Most of the time, you can't be sure whether it's fog or Churchill cigar. But we had a great trip. But it's wonderful to come back to this country again, because you know that no matter how long you've been away, you'll see the same upraised arm. Head! Who's that? Is that my Crosley? What was that? But it's great to get back, because no matter how long you've been away, you'll see the same upraised arm and the Statue of Liberty and the same face looking out of the White House window. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present a great guy, an up-and-coming young fellow who made a great name for himself on the dugout circuit, one of radio's foremost, Jack Benny.
Thank you. Say, that introduction was a little ambiguous, Bob. You said one of radio's foremost. Foremost what?
Well, I cleaned up part of the speech, Jack. All right. It originally said one of radio's 4 most obnoxious comedians.
Oh, it did? Who are the other 2? Well, now that you got the program started, Bob, might be wise to do a little entertaining.
Yeah. Well, what did you think I was doing out here, making an omelet? I left myself wide open, didn't I? Say, what's that thing under your arm? Did you just get through with the Palladium, Jack? What is that there?
Oh, no, I'm going to a wedding. This is a violin. It's a Steinway and Sons. I'm going to play.
Well, you're going to play? This is no time to play the fiddle.
Why, that's ridiculous. People always love to hear me play the violin. Look, I took it with me on my trip overseas, and I played it while we were making the flight from Cairo to Sicily in a bomber.
I heard about that. It was the first time anybody was ever strafed by his own pilot.
Look, Bob, he wasn't aiming at me. My G-string was out of tune, and he thought we were being attacked by a Messerschmitt. Now, if you don't mind, Mr. Hoppy.
Well, it isn't me, Jack. It's for your own good.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't think it would be wise for you to play the fiddle at all today. You see, in a few minutes, we're going to listen to Heifetz.
I didn't catch the name?
Heifetz. He's in Panama, and we're soon going to switch the program there.
Heifetz? Mm-hmm. Panama. That isn't the little fellow with the hat store there, is it?
No, that's the little fellow with the fiddle, Yasha Heifetz. He plays the violin, and he's in Panama.
Oh, of course. I remember seeing him in a nightclub there. Yasha Heifetz and his Panamaniac. Great band.
No, he doesn't play with a band. He's the Sinatra of the catgut. Look, the word is... It's not Panamaniacs anyway. The word is Panamanian.
Look, Bob, I know what the word is, and I know who Heifetz is, too, but I don't see how my playing will conflict with his at all. Our techniques are totally different.
Yeah, he only has to put it under one chin.
I use my second chin for a mute. If you'll be good enough to carry on for a few seconds, Bob, I'll get some rosin for my bow.
Get an axe for
your
fiddle,
too.
What? Don't talk to my slug, please. Let's go big Goliath. Where's that? Let's try it with strings this time. Jack, since you're not going to give me a straight line. Jack, since you're so anxious to play, you'd better have the full advantage of the acoustics in this studio. If you'll just go behind the screen.
Me behind the screen?
Believe me, Jack, it's safer. Besides, we've fixed up a very delicate microphone for you.
Well, that's very thoughtful of you, Bob.
Oh, think nothing of
The
it.
acoustics are important, I imagine.
Now, see, where did I put my rod? Are you ready, Jack? Yeah, okay. Start playing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the finest excuse anybody ever had to switch a program. Even if Benny wasn't playing, I'd be delighted to announce that you're going to listen to Al Jolson in New York. Take it away, New York.
Who has entertained our boys on more fighting fronts than any other soldier in Greasepaint. He's making his first appearance since recovering from a very serious illness. Al, what were the favorite songs that the boys asked you to sing abroad?
Well, in Sicily and in Italy and in Africa, England, Ireland, Alaska, Mammy and Sonny Boy were probably the favorite songs.
Of course.
I sung them so much, honestly, if the boys didn't get sick of them, I did. So, since I've been back, I've seen one show and I heard a great song. I think it's the greatest song I've heard in years. Of course, everybody knows the song. Maybe the boys haven't heard it over there.
Will you sing it now?
Well, I sing it. I don't want to tell you the name of it, because the minute I do it, everybody will know what it is and probably tune out. So if you don't mind, Brother Miller, will you play K.I.B.M.?
Don't throw bouquets at me. Don't please my folks too much. Don't laugh at my jokes too much. People will say we're in love. Don't sigh and gaze at me. Your sighs are so like mine. Your eyes mustn't glow like mine. People will say we're in love. Don't start collecting things. Give me my rose and my glove. Sweetheart, they're suspecting things. People will say we're in love. Don't dance all night with me till the stars fade from above. They'll see it's all right with me. People will say we're in love.
Thanks very much, Al. And now, ladies and gentlemen, another very fine soldier in Greasepaint speaking to us from way across the sea. Your old friend, Frederick March. Take it away, Caro.
Lands, for the first time, have had ample opportunity to compare these lands with home. To compare standards of living, food, sanitation, and from every angle. And they are utterly convinced, perhaps at long last, that they are fighting for the finest country in the world. Another thing the boys are thankful for is that they occasionally get a fairly new moving picture. But it is much too seldom. Once or twice they have had a first showing, that is the world premiere of film. This was in the Central Africa area. And they were thrilled and grateful. They can't understand why they should be shown so often movies which many of them saw at home 2 or 3 years ago. And I can't understand why every movie that now comes out of Hollywood should not be shown first of all and immediately to the armed forces overseas. Or at least let the boys here see them at the same time they are shown at home. I assure you it would build morale tremendously. But even more important than movies as a morale factor is mail. We have so little conception at home of how extremely important it is to the boys. They want more and more mail and news from home. Several commanding officers have told me that if it ever happens that their men were without mail from home for 3 consecutive months, they could not possibly be responsible for anything their men might do. Mail is usually rated as second in importance to food as regards morale. But many boys that I have talked to claim it is even more important than food. Always remember that morale overseas is spelled M-A-I-L. A Thanksgiving letter from you today and every day will make some soldier thankful and grateful, I assure you. In closing, may I say in all sincerity, I believe there is nothing the citizenry of America could be called upon to do in the way of sacrifices that would make up for what these boys are doing for you. Thank you, Frederick Marsh. Take it away, New York.
How was it, Bob? Oh, magnificent, Jack. I'm sure our listeners never enjoyed your fiddle as much as they did this morning.
Oh, it was nothing. And, Bob, it was really sweet of you. Asking me to play 12 encores. Would you believe it? I wasn't even conscious that an audience was listening to me.
You have no idea how it helped.
Only one thing bothered me, Bob, from a musician's standpoint. You know how fussy I am about perfection. Well, when I reached the legato passage of Love and Bloom...
Yes?
Well, I'm afraid I put too much bravura in the tremolo, and I think I loused up the andante. You think anybody noticed it?
Nobody, Jack. Not a soul.
That relieves me.
Jack, I've got a confession to make. When you started playing, we switched to New York.
You switched to New York? You mean you cut me off the air?
Well, we only stayed in New York 2 minutes.
Oh, only 2 minutes. Then you switched back to me.
Well, not right away. From New York, we switched to Cairo.
Cairo. Oh, then you came back to me. Then you came back to me? Then you didn't come back to me?
That's about all you can do with that line, anyway.
I was going on till my Sunday broadcast with that.
No, Jack, we didn't come back.
Well, Bob, what part of my violin solo came over the air?
The part where you loused up the andante.
Well, of all the dirty tricks, what was so important that you had to cut me off to switch to Cairo and New York?
Well, there was artist, Frederick Marsh.
I know he's good, but is he so good that I should be sacrificed? I'd understand it. If you cut me off the air to hear somebody like Al Jolson, the world's greatest entertainer. But,
Jack, when we switched to New York, we picked up Al Jolson.
Him I can't stand at all.
With your legs, you're lucky you can stand.
Listen to Charles Atlas. Look, Hope, I'm going to play right now, and everybody's going to hear me. You understand?
Well, if you must, Jack, go behind the screen again.
All right. I never heard of such a...
Are you ready, Jack?
Yeah, just a second.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're honored to bring you Brigadier General Joseph W. Byron, Director of Special Services, Army Service Forces. General Byron will speak to you from San Francisco. Take it away, San Francisco. San Francisco.
We are again on the road to see if our 45 USO shows are keeping up the good work. My boss, Joe Dokes, and I say to you, good troopers, well done. We thank you. And to you, Joe Dokes, wherever you are, we troopers, we old soldiers, we grandfathers, we of the nation, want you to know on this day of thanks, we are grateful to you and for you. And we pledge, on our honor, to do our best, to do our duty to God and our country, and to help you at all times.
Take it away, Hollywood.
Oh, that was wonderful, Jack.
Well, it felt better. I didn't make any mistakes at all that time.
Not one.
Hey, listen. I'd like to hear that violin solo of mine. Did they make a recording of it?
Yes, they did, but something went wrong with the recording outfit here, and they had to cut the record in Panama.
In Panama?
Yes. I'm sure it'll sound good, though. Would you like me to switch into Panama and have them play it back for you?
Well, if it isn't too much trouble.
Oh, not at all. Ladies and gentlemen, Oh, Jack, if you go behind the screen again, you'll find the reception much clearer.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, but it'll sound pretty good coming all the way from
Yes.
Panama.
Ladies and gentlemen, we take you now to Panama, where Yasha Heifetz is waiting to delight you with the magic music of his violin. Take it away, Panama.
Panama, we have just presented a portion of the concert being given this morning by Yasha Heifetz, accompanied by Emmanuel Bay before an audience of Uncle Sam's Fighting Men. This is Captain Phil Lampkin speaking. Take it away, Hollywood.
Wasn't that marvelous, folks? Did you ever hear such masterful playing?
Hey, my record really sounded good, didn't it, Bob?
Good. Nobody can play like that.
Yeah, I could hardly believe it was me. I'll have to get that record. I'll see you soon, Bob.
Okay, Jack. How can a man make a censored word out of himself like that? Well, according to my notes, it's time to bring on a few more soldiers in Greasepaint, and here is a feminine task force who entertained not only our boys overseas, but also appeared before Queen Elizabeth and the royal family. Led by the lovely Kay Francis, they did a bang-up job, and here she is to present them, Kay Francis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now all I can say is that, well, we had a wonderful time. You'll hear our story in song from Martha Ray, Carol Landis, and Mitzi Mayfair. Girls, if you please.
We shall not forget the buddies that we met Sunday, Monday, and always.
We wore GI boots and long-drawered union suits
Sunday, Monday, and always.
We miss that sandy bed so snug to sleep at night. We miss those itsy-bitsy fleas and flies that bite and bite.
Our hair done in the mood, a helmet for a snood.
Sunday, Monday, and always. We were gaining weight. These were all we ate. Sunday, Monday, and always. Out of bed we'd roll, then bathe in a bowl. Sunday, Monday, and always. We knew the boys would meet and greet us like a pal. We brought the very things they needed for morale, our gal. So to those fighting men, we would go again. Sunday, Monday, and always.
Aren't they wonderful? And now to show you that we cover every field of entertainment from Joe Miller to Shakespeare, I'm proud to say that we have with us today one of America's most outstanding dramatic actresses. She's a real soldier in Greasepaint, too, and was the first Hollywood representative to play for our men in the South Pacific, introducing Miss Judith Anderson.
Most of you men who are listening to this Thanksgiving Day broadcast are far away from home. Many of you have not seen your wives or sweethearts, your mothers or sisters for months. or perhaps for years. War is violent and brutal, and perhaps some of you find it hard to believe that there's still kindness, gentleness, and love left in this world. But we women have not forgotten. We women, and I mean your wives, sisters, mothers, and sweethearts, are waiting, and we will always wait until you return. But in the meantime, in our small way, we are doing what we can to shorten this war. We buy bonds, help with the Red Cross and USO, or we take over a man's job, so that there still will be one more soldier to help you win this war. And every night we pray for your safe return. This is Thanksgiving Day. I hope that next Thanksgiving Day we will be together again in our own homes. And when peace comes to us, and we relight our torch of freedom, dear God, with your help and guidance, we will never again let it go out. God bless you all.
Thank you, Miss Anderson. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we switch once again to overseas. This time, the place is Guadalcanal, and the trooper is Jackie Heller. Take it away, Guadalcanal.
This is your NBC News reporter, George Thomas Wilster, speaking from New Caledonia. Join us for the next couple of minutes while we tell you about the grandest bunch of fellows in the world, your sons, sweethearts, husbands, and brothers. We're happy to present a star of stage, screen, and radio. Known to you as 61 inches of song, Little Jack Heller. Thanks, George, and hi, Mr. and Mrs. America. Where do you hail from, Jackie? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Well, you're a long way from the beaten path. What are you doing in this part of the world? Well, George, I'm proud to say that I'm here with the USO Overseas Camp Show, and with two other entertainers, Lou Parker and George Finkelberg. We're having a swell time doing shows for these boys who need and deserve them so much. And how long has you fellows been on? Going on 7 months. You expect to be around much longer? George, as long as there are troops to entertain, the sky's the limit. And today, Jackie, where have you been? Well, the Hawaiian Islands, New Caledonia, Espiritu Santos, and Guadalcanal. And how do you like doing one-nighters in the South Pacific? Well, I think it's wonderful. A bit rough at times, but after we do our shows and see the boys laugh, yell, and just about tear down the house, as the saying goes, we realize that our work is not in vain. For the hour and 20 minutes we're singing and playing, we know we are giving them a little pleasure and enjoyment and bringing home a little closer to them. In fact, I often think that the men are the actors because whether it was a torrential rain, storm, or a very hot day, the show just had to go on. I know that you've had many experiences while touring here in the South Pacific, Jackie. I really have, George, but the biggest thrill I've had so far was when I was asked to join the men in their Yom Kippur services in Espiritu Santos. Singing hymns for the first time since leaving my father's choir many years ago brought back many memories. Believe me, it was a great thrill singing for and with the men. One last question. How do you find the morale of our fighting men out here? Morale, did you say? Out here in the South Pacific, morale isn't mentioned. It's here, there, and everywhere. It's the way the men talk, eat, sleep, and play. In fact, it's everything they do. Ladies and gentlemen, believe me when I tell you that the shows presented by the USO camp shows have aided immensely in maintaining the spirit. And your loved ones, they're the greatest and most appreciative audience in the world. And now on behalf of George Finkelberg, Lou Parker, and Manager Lieutenant Benson, George Folster, and yours truly, here's wishing you the happiest Thanksgiving Day ever. Thank you, Jackie Heller. Take it away, Hollywood.
We pause briefly for station identification.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with Soldiers in Greasepaint from Hollywood. And now I'd like to present one of Hollywood's most charming stars, the lady who was one of the original overseas gals, that beautiful English actress, Merle Oberon. Thank you, Merle. You're a regular paper doll, aren't you, huh? Mind if I put my arm around you?
Do you put your arms around all the paper dolls?
Yeah, I'm from the Associated Press. Merle, I understand you recently finished a tour of the Army camps in England.
Yes, Bob. I toured the camps with Al Jolson. You know him, don't you?
Oh, yes, I know Al Jolson very well. We were in vaudeville together.
Really?
Yeah, before he sang, I used to run out and spread a doily under his knee.
Bob, you recently got back yourself from England, didn't you?
Yes, Merle, I must say I created a sensation when I appeared at Buckingham Palace.
Oh, yes, I heard you did. Bob, you know you're supposed to wear silk knee breeches when you appear before the king.
You're supposed to wear silk knee breeches?
That's right. You're not supposed to walk in with just your long underwear pulled up tight. Bob, wasn't it thrilling to see the British and American boys sharing everything? Even the same reading room in the canteen.
Yeah, but our boys have one bad habit. They cut pages out of the magazines.
They do?
Sure, in fact, for 6 months, the British thought Esquire was a magazine about what the men are wearing.
Bob, were you frightened during the air raid?
Oh, I don't know that I was any more afraid of the air raids than anyone else. After all, I saw plenty of big, tough soldiers kneeling beside their beds.
Yes, I know, but they at least got up once in a while to go and eat.
Merle, I wasn't afraid of those enemy bombers.
I don't know, Bob, but you were the only man in London who shaved the top of his head and had Open City tattooed on his skull.
Well, I wasn't sure they'd see the white flag hanging on my nose.
But I enjoyed playing those army camps, Bob, especially when the soldiers started giving me that old GI look.
GI look?
Yes, that means it's my Jeep, baby. Get in.
Yeah, those boys really know how to take a curve. Say, listen, I'm sure that you were a welcome hitchhiker, Merle.
Thank you, Bob. And before I go, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you boys not to lose your GI look, because I'll be seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Merle Oberon. And now another USO star who toured Alaska and the Aleutians, our old friend, Senor Professor Jerry Colonna. Good morning, good morning. How are you? Good morning, Professor Colonna. Good morning.
Morning. Is that what that stuff is out there?
You look grand. Look at that stash. It's good today, isn't it? Yeah. Only man in the world can kiss a girl and give her the brush off at the same time. Professor, we had a lot of fun up there in Alaska, didn't we?
Yes, indeed, we did.
But one thing I want to know, Colonna, about that Alaskan trip. Why were you always hollering mush, mush?
Well, they made me wait for my breakfast. Not this morning, though. I was too early for it.
Yeah, get in line. Say, when we came down through Alaska, did you notice those mounted policemen?
Oh, there's nothing. No hope. I was a mounted policeman before I was born.
You were a mounted policeman before you were born? How is that possible?
I lied about my age.
You know, Professor, you've got the lowest IQ I ever saw.
I can't help it. My suspenders are loose.
You know, you give me the willies.
Okay, but I'll have to take the tires off at first.
Tell me, Professor. Yeah? Did you like Alaska?
Ah, yes, wonderful place, Alaska. You know, Hope, I followed the Alaskan customs easily. I got so that I even tried whale meat.
Yes, I know. I saw you one night struggling with that big hunk of blubber.
Sir, you are speaking of the woman I love.
So you had a lot of fun up there, huh?
Ah, yes. The first day I was in Alaska, I met a lovely girl, and I sure enjoyed kissing her. Even if she had a funny snout and dark, glistening skin and two long teeth sticking out of her mouth.
Colonna, you fool. That was a walrus you kissed.
A walrus? Egad. So that explains why your mustache was longer than mine.
Go back and stick your head back in the icebox. And now to Washington, D.C., and Rear Admiral Louis E. Dunfeld, Acting Chief of Naval Personnel. Take it away, Washington.
In October of 1941, the War and Navy Departments jointly requested the organization of Camp Shows Incorporated in its present form. Since that time, many thousands, even millions of naval personnel, including the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard, have been privileged to hear the entertainers who are so familiar to the American radio audience. Realization of the privilege has helped to maintain the ties with home which naval personnel place so highly in rating the assets of life in a democracy. These entertainers whom you hear on this program have been to the far corners of the earth for the sole purpose of bringing joy to the hearts of men whose lives are otherwise filled with the reminders of war. In addition, many who cannot appear on this program have given their services. These services have been contributed gratis when the individual could afford to do so. But gratis or not, the same generous spirit has been common to all. The entire entertainment world of radio, stage, and screen has combined to contribute its bit to reminding the serviceman or woman that the American people are grateful for the service he or she is performing. In the background of this picture, but essential part thereof, are the musicians, the writers, the stage hands, the costume designers, and the many other unseen workers who contribute to make camp shows the great success that it is. The entertainment varies from the one-man show to a fair-sized company, and all are received with enthusiasm at home and abroad. These groups are being maintained in spite of the demands which war makes on the manpower of the entertainment world as well as on all other professions. The entertainers and workers deserve the gratitude of the Navy, and it is my pleasure to extend to them and to camp shows on this Thanksgiving Day the thanks of every man and woman who wears the uniform of the United States Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard.
Thank you, Admiral Denfeld. Take it away, Hollywood.
To the stirring rhythm of the military drums marches yet another squad of soldiers in greasepaint. As they approach, we can make out the rollicking features of Andy Devine, the elfin smile of Jimmy Burke, and the lovely, lively figures of Jinx Falkenberg and Faye McKenzie. Here, indeed, is a detail of veteran entertainers who have brought joy and spiritual comfort into the hearts of our boys everywhere. Listen.
Detail! Help! Miss Falkenberg, Miss McKenzie, Jim Burke, I hold in my hand a citation from headquarters. A citation for each of you for your work in the Army camps of America and your appearances in the war zones overseas. Miss McKenzie.
Thank you, Andy. Although I'm sure I don't know what we've...
Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Day.
Oh, what makes life seem worthwhile dwells in your eyes, and the smell of your smile.
Dennis Day is brought to you by Colgate Dental Cream and Luster Cream Shampoo. Colgate Dental Cream, Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous dream girl hair. The Dennis Day Show with Barbara Eiler, B. Benaderet, Dink Trout, John Brown, Charles Dant in the orchestra, and yours truly, Vern Smith, is written by Frank Galen and stars our popular young singer in A Day in the Life of Dennis Day. Here's Dennis to sing Who Put That Dream in Your Eye?
Who put that dream in your eyes? And who put that song in your sigh? Who makes you thrill through and through? Who is that lucky guy I wish I knew? Please tell me who put that spring in your wall? And who put that lilt in your call? Your kiss could put me wise and make me realize that I put that dream in your eyes.
Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth.
No other toothpaste does a better job of cleaning teeth than Colgate Dental Cream. For Colgate Dental Cream has a safe polishing agent that cleans your teeth both gently and thoroughly, brings out their natural sparkle and beauty. You can actually see and feel the difference.
And scientific tests prove that Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. Prove conclusively that in 7 out of 10 cases, Colgate instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth.
Colgate Dental Cream is famous for its wonderful wake-up flavor, too. Nationwide tests of leading toothpastes prove that Colgate's is preferred for flavor over every other brand tested. Yes, preferred over every other brand tested.
And no wonder, for Colgate Dental Cream is the result of constant effort to produce the finest toothpaste in the world today. For cleaning teeth, for flavor, for sweetening breath.
So see if you don't agree with the millions who have made Colgate Dental Cream America's favorite toothpaste. Try Colgate Dental Cream to bring out the natural sparkle and beauty of your teeth. For a wake-up flavor you'll thoroughly enjoy.
And always use Colgate Dental Cream after you eat and before every date to clean your breath while you clean your teeth. Secret that with the cost of living what it is these days, many of us are beginning to feel the pinch. But on the salary our young hero makes at Willoughby's store, he's almost completely black and blue. It's no wonder, then, that for months he's been looking for a job in his spare time in addition to the one he already holds. The wonder is that he seems finally to have found something. And flushed with excitement, he's just telling his girlfriend Mildred all about it, only to have his joy cool perceptibly at her none too enthusiastic reception of the news.
Well, gee whiz, Mildred, is that all you're going to say? I thought you'd be thrilled.
Well, maybe I should be, Dennis, but you see, you know so little about radio.
But there's big money in radio, Mildred. You take a fella like Jack Benny. I'll bet he makes upwards of $100 a week.
Well, yes, of course he does.
And that's for himself after he pays all his employees. I mean, like that girl Mary and the fat fella and Rochester and that very funny boy singer.
Benny's an actor, Dennis, a star. And you're just going to sell time for a local radio station.
Sure, and I'll make a fortune, because every merchant in Weaverville would jump at the chance to sponsor a brand new idea for a radio program. And that's just what I've got.
Well, you really have?
On just a regular serial, like Today's Children or, you know.
About a department store detective? No, I don't.
Sure you do. It's called David Something or Other, Counter Spy.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Well, then I got a better idea. Put on a serial, sure. But base it on someone who lives right here in Weaverville. And the first person I thought of was you.
Me?
Sure. I even had the title. Just plain old Mildred Anderson, girl, female.
Oh, Dennis.
And then I realized I'd have to bring in this home, the relationship between your mother and father, so I threw it out.
Why? Why?
And then I thought of my boss. What about a serial, I asked myself, called Mr. Willoughby Faces Life?
Well, that doesn't sound too bad.
No, I decided it wouldn't work. Life would get all the sympathy.
Oh, I see.
And then, like a ton of bricks, it hit me. Why just one Weaverville character? Why not a serial based on everyone in town? You, me, Mr. Willoughby, Mr. Courtney, the banker, that old gossip, Mrs. Dolan, the butcher, the baker, everyone.
Oh, golly.
What an idea. I couldn't believe I had thought of it. I went right over to the mirror and kissed myself. Isn't it wonderful, Mildred?
Well, yes, I guess it is.
Why, girl, what is it? Have you no confidence in me?
Well, yes, of course I have. Deep down inside.
Then let's dredge a little, shall we?
Dennis, it's just that, well, you're going to have to sell this thing to put it across, and every time you've tried to sell anything in the past...
Oh, you're looking at a new man, girl. If there is. Don't Be a Chump, Be a Chum by Arthur Almquist.
Oh? You're sure this Arthur Almquist really knows something about salesmanship?
I'll say. He sold me the book.
Well, what does he say about selling?
Well, he says that the whole secret is in friendliness. A salesman's got to make other people his equal.
Oh, I guess you can do that.
Sure, but it'll be quite a come-down for most of my customers.
Oh, nonsense.
Well, anyway, the idea is to be a hail fellow well met. Call the prospect Kiddo or Buster or Sonny Boy or Junior or some name like that. He says it works every time.
And you think he's right?
Sure. This fellow knows what he's doing. Oh, wait a minute. I hear your mother coming downstairs. Watch. I bet I even get a friendly smile from her.
Well, that's the test, all right. I hope...
Good morning, Mother.
Good morning, Mildred. Dennis. Where do you stay, Buster? Buster? Oh, pardon me. Wrong sex. What I meant was, how's it, kiddo?
Oh, Dennis, be careful.
Oh, just a friendly pat on the back, that's all. My pal and I understand each other, don't we, kiddo?
If I thought we did, I'd be on my way to a psychiatrist this minute.
Why, chum, that's no way to...
Don't you chum me, Dennis Day. And if you ever lay a hand on me again, I'll bet they'll quit me.
Gee, that didn't work out as well as I expected.
Are you going to give it up?
Well, it's merchants, and I got to get my foot in the door with that radio. I just hope now that I don't come home with my whole leg in a cast.
And so off our hero goes to the store, hoping to take the town by storm with his new radio program. But a storm is already brewing down at Willoughby's, a storm of an entirely different nature. We find Dennis's boss engaged in a most serious discussion with Herbert Anderson.
But good heavens, Herb, don't you realize what could happen if those minutes of our lodge meeting got into the wrong hands?
Yes, of course I do, Homer. I've looked everywhere. I just can't find them.
Well, you've got to find them. If it ever gets out that we've had entertainers like that Flossie, what was her name?
Flossie LaFleur, the flame of amour.
Yeah.
When she poses, no one dozes.
Fine stuff for our wives to read. I tell you, if those lodge minutes aren't recovered, there isn't a bald eagle who will ever fly again.
But it was only harmless fun.
You think our wives will believe that? All they have to know is that we had Flossie LaFleur and her 12 little pepper pots entertaining.
6 little pepper pots, Homer.
Oh, really? I thought there were 12.
I know. That was the night you were the wine steward.
Oh. Herbert, you didn't... That book doesn't tell about the imitation Flossie did of Al Jolson, does it?
I'm afraid it does. 5 whole lurid pages of it.
Oh, no.
I even wrote how she sang, "Climb upon my knees, sonny boy," and you did your best to.
Oh, Herbert. Well, I wasn't the only one. The entire lodge wanted to be Sonny Boy.
I know.
Yeah, what about you? When she sang, "How I love you, how I love you," didn't you put a glass of water on your head and claim you were the dear old Swanee?
Yes, I was full of the old Ned that night. Oh, we'd better find that book, Homer. I'm going home and have another look.
Yes, you do that. And if you don't find it, I'll have the Lodge Hospital Fund standing by for disbursements.
Good morning. Oh, hi, Mr. Anderson. What are you doing down here?
Oh, just a little business with your boss, Dennis. I'll see you later, Homer.
Well, Dennis...
What do you know, Willoughby, old pal, old chum, old sock? How's my old pally pal?
Dennis, I don't feel so well today. I just...
Oh, don't worry. I'll cheer you up. Have I got a proposition for you, sonny boy?
What was that?
I say, if I got a proposition...
No, I mean, what was it that you called me?
Sonny boy.
I see. You got that out of a book, huh? A certain book.
As a matter of fact, I did.
Yeah. Sit down, Dennis.
Oh, sure. Gee, thanks, pal.
Okay, what's the proposition?
Well, I got a great idea for a radio program, kiddo. Oh, Mammy, is this an idea?
Please don't...
It's a brand new type of show, all about the lives of certain people right here in Weaverville. Can you imagine the effect of a broadcast like that coming right into your own home?
Easily.
Then why not be one of my sponsors? It'll only cost you $50, old pal, old chum.
Here's the 50.
But just let me point out the advantages. Beg pardon?
I said, here's your $50.
Bless you, PS9, for teaching me how to read.
I, on the other hand, detest PS9.
Huh?
However, consider me signed, sealed, and delivered.
Oh, great. Now, let's see. There ought to be some other good prospects in town for a thing like this, don't you think?
Just walk up to anyone on the street who's wearing pants.
Yeah? Well, how about Mr. Courtney, the banker? Of course, the bank has never advertised before.
It will now.
Gee, you've got as much faith in my salesmanship as I have. Well, so long. Keep your chin up, sonny boy. Here he is now. Hiya, Courtney, old kid, old pal.
Hey, aren't you Willoughby's boy?
Yep, just telling your secretary here I wanted to see you, Pally.
I have no time now. I'm on my way to lunch. Respect. Goodbye.
Well, you'll be sorry if you don't listen to what I have to say, sonny boy.
What was that?
Gosh, what a broad jump.
Never mind. Did you just call me Sonny Boy?
Yeah, it's a little thing I read in a book.
Let's step into my office where we can talk in private.
Gee, every boy should be given a copy of that thing when he graduates from college.
All right, Dave. What have you got in mind?
Well, I've got an idea for a radio broadcast, pal, and it's a beauty.
I see.
Let me show you the advantages of sponsoring it.
Don't bother. I think I can see them all.
You mean I've talked you into it already?
Naturally.
Boy, am I a persuasive little cuss.
Here's $50 in cash. Will that be satisfactory?
Sure thing. This just shows what can be done when you've got a good product.
If I had a product like yours, I'd close the bank and retire.
Well, I always knew I'd make a good salesman. So long, and thanks, sonny boy. Boy, oh boy, Mildred, I'm telling you, you never saw anything like it. What a book that is.
Oh, Dennis, it's just too marvelous. You actually collected $100 in cash?
In lettuce. Nice, cool, green root of evil.
Oh, golly, just by being friendly.
Yep, just by doing what the book says, palling and kiddoing people. Although I must admit that Sonny Boy has been by far my best seller.
Oh, Dennis, now you can put on your radio program.
Sure. I've already gone down to the radio station and bought the time with their money.
Oh, golly, it's just... Dennis, look. There's Mr. Courtney and Mr. Willoughby at the door.
Well, my business associates. Hey, maybe you better wait in the den, Mildred. We're big men, and this may be a pretty big deal.
All right, Dennis. Good luck.
Well, come in, gentlemen. Come right in.
We want to talk to you, Dave.
Right this minute.
Well, sure, but why so serious, pals? Chums? Kiddos? Honey boys? The old icebreaker. Sit down, Busters.
Dave, I'll come right to the point. We've come over to make a deal with you.
Yeah, how about $200 in cash?
You mean you want to give me more money without my even asking for it?
Exactly.
Boy, what a salesman I am. Even when I'm not selling, there's a carryover.
We want that book, Dave.
Book? You don't mean the one I got that Sonny Boy stuff out of?
You know that's what we mean.
Oh, I couldn't part with that. It's my stepping stone to success.
So, playing it cagey, huh? Well, we'll see about that.
All right. What is it you want, boy? A good raise in salary. Homer will give it to you, won't you, Homer?
Certainly. Does that satisfy you?
Well...
Maybe you'd like a change in jobs. There's one waiting for you in my bank. How about it?
Well...
Or perhaps you'd be interested in public office. The Bald Eagles will get behind you for city council.
Well...
Or mayor. How would you like to be mayor?
Come, boy. Why don't you speak up?
You think I'm crazy? I'm doing great with well.
Dennis, you can see that we're desperate. Now, do we get that book?
Oh, gee, I guess you do. I couldn't do it.
Well, my gracious, what in the world's going on here?
Herb, our troubles are over. We've got the book.
Well, of course. Didn't you get my message? I found it.
What?
Sure. It had slid down back of the seat cushion in the car.
Now, about this city council job...
Drop dead.
Why, chums, Sonny boys, buddies.
Quiet, you.
My goodness, has our buddyship cooled?
I'll say it has. And I'll thank you for that $50 I gave you.
Yeah, mine too.
But, kiddos, I already gave the whole $100 to the radio station.
Then get it back.
But I can't. Radio stations have very high principles, and not giving money back is one of their highest.
Dennis, we want that money.
I think I better get out of here.
Dave, either we get that money or you'll spend the rest of your life in jail.
Gentlemen, please. You're biting the hand that's raised to leave the room.
you understand us, Dennis? Come on, fellas, let's get that book right now and burn it.
I'll say. Come on,
Hey,
Herb.
but Palsy. Gee, what a life to live. Sometimes I wish I'd never gotten over the measles.
Oh, Dennis, I heard it all. I just...
Stay away from me, girl. I'm jailbait.
But you aren't. All you did was agree to put on a radio show. If you do that, they can't do anything to you.
But all that's paid for is the time. How can I put on a radio program without actors? Actors want money. They eat just like people.
Well, you and I could be the actors, Dennis.
Huh? Well, what kind of a show has only 2 actors?
Did you ever hear one of those breakfast programs? You know, where the husband and wife chat over the breakfast table?
Oh, yeah, with their mouths full. But that kind of show would have to come from this house, and what would your mother say?
Mother and Daddy will still be asleep at that hour. They don't have to know anything about it.
Gee, Mildred, I don't
Dennis,
know.
it's our only chance. Besides, maybe we'll be a big success. We can even mention some products on the program in hopes of attracting sponsors.
Gosh, it might work at that.
Of course it might, and it's simple. We just act like any married couple at breakfast.
Yeah. I hope the rustling of the morning paper and the grunts come over clearly.
Now, don't get nervous, Dennis. We go on the air as soon as the light flashes. You better clear your throat.
Gee, I don't think I can. My heart's in it. I thought sure those engineers would wake your mother up with that hammering when they put in those cables. Gee, Mildred, besides, we don't even know what we're going to say. We haven't rehearsed yet.
Well, just let me lead the conversation. All you have to do is help make the audience think we're actually at the breakfast table.
Okay, I'll chew like anything.
Oh, no, just ask me to pass things. You know, the way you really do with my mother every morning.
You mean I should beg you for an egg?
Dennis, use your imagination and make them think we're eating a wonderful breakfast. Why, oh, my gosh, there's the light. Go ahead.
Good morning, friends. This is just plain charming Dennis and Mildred coming to you from their lovely breakfast table, which is the same as their lovely lunch table, only sooner. Good morning, Mildred, darling. Sleep well?
Oh, I always sleep well on our Dreamtime mattress, dear. And you?
I tossed and turned all night. Couldn't sleep a wink.
Oh, no, Dennis. No one ever gets a poor night's rest on a Dreamtime mattress. The Dreamtime mattress is built with a special inner spring.
Maybe that's what kept sticking in my back.
Dennis, the product, don't you remember?
Oh, yeah.
A cigarette, dear?
Huh?
Thank you, ma'am. At Margaret, at Margaret after Margaret, I've seen the buyers of this brand. This milder brand, and every one of them is a man or a woman.
Dennis, I think maybe we better eat our breakfast, dear.
But certainly, darling. Would you mind passing the wild pheasant, please?
Why, yes, and here are some delicious scrambled eggs.
Oh, no, thanks. Just a little pheasant and a few frog's legs will do me fine.
Well, just as you say. Did you stop in and see Francis and Jean on the way downstairs this morning?
Why, no. Are they visiting us again?
There are children, darling.
Oh, then they're here permanently, no doubt.
Yes, of course.
I'm glad, because Francis and Jean certainly are cute little boys.
Yes.
Good.
I had Jean to the dentist yesterday, you know.
Oh? Something to do with his teeth?
Yes.
Good for you. There's nobody I'd rather have fix my teeth than a dentist. But where was Francis while you were out with Jean?
Well, he was with my parents.
Ah, yes, the dear, sweet old things. Your mother is just grand, Mill.
Oh, and she certainly thinks the world of you.
Yes, she worships the ground I walk on. I often think that...
What silly imbecile was doing the hammering just now? You, Dennis Day?
Well, if it isn't that delightful old lady, Mildred's
What's that?
Sit down. Sit right down, Mommy, and shush.
Shush! I'll shush you. Who do you think you're talking to?
Oh, Mother, please.
Yes, Mommy, dear. If we ever needed a shush, it's now.
Dennis Day.
Shush, you might wake Francis.
Francis? Who's Francis?
Oh, I forgot. It's a family secret.
Just who is this Francis?
Well, he's your grandson.
My grandson?
Yeah, we've been keeping little things from you, Mommy.
I have no grandson, and you know it. And if I find out which one of you just kicked me under the table, I'll beat the life out of Dennis.
Mother, please have a cup of coffee, won't you?
Yeah, and a nice slice of pheasant. Help yourself, Mommy.
Are you crazy? There's nothing on this table except... Wait a minute. What is this thing with the wires attached? Why, it's a microphone.
Yeah. See now, why, shush.
Do you mean that everything we've said has gone out over the air?
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure we were fated long ago.
Dennis, say you...
Goodbye, everybody. We're a little late this morning. Goodbye.
With Charles Dant and the orchestra, here's Dennis to sing the beautiful ballad, How Lucky You Are.
As you walk, as you talk with the one you love, do you know just how lucky you are? When you stroll hand in hand neath the moon above, does your heart sing how lucky you are? There's so many heartaches in this world of ours, but sometimes a dream will come true when the one that you love is in love with you. That's the greatest of blessings I hope. And you don't know how lucky you when you stroll hand in hand neath the moon above, does your heart sing how lucky you are? There's so many heartaches in this world of ours, but sometimes a dream will come true when the one that you love is in love with you. That's the greatest of blessings I hope. And you don't know how lucky you
Good night, everybody.
Dennis Day is brought to you every Wednesday by the Colgate Palmolive Peat Company.
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl, hair that gleams and glistens
from a Luster Cream shampoo.
Yes, Luster Cream Shampoo leaves hair with new three-way loveliness. 1, fragrantly clean. 2, glistening with sheen. 3, soft, easy to manage. Luster Cream is not a soap, not a liquid, but an utterly new, rich lathering cream shampoo. A blend of secret ingredients plus lanolin. Try Luster Cream Shampoo. 4-ounce jar, only $1. At all cosmetic counters. Also in smaller sizes. Be a dream girl. A lovely Luster Cream girl.
Dream girl, beautiful Luster Cream girl. You owe your crowning glory to a Luster Cream shampoo.
This is Vern Smith reminding you to join us again next week for another Dennis Day Show, brought to you by Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous dream girl hair. Ladies and gentlemen, if infantile paralysis should strike your child, it would take more than luck to save him from the life of a cripple. Only the best medical care can help your youngster. Your contribution to the March of Dimes enables the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis to guarantee all the medical treatment possible to help restore polio victims to healthy, active lives. That's why it's important to give generously to the March of Dimes. That's why it's important to give now. Good night.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Schlitz Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, presents The Halls of Ivy, starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman.
When there's beer on your mind, your best thought is Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous. More people like the taste of Schlitz than any other beer. That's why Schlitz is the largest selling beer in America.
And now, The Halls of Ivy.
That surround us here today, and we will not forget, though we be far, far away.
Welcome again to Ivy. Ivy College, that is, in the town of Ivy, USA. When a student manages to distinguish himself in any field, usually one of the first persons contacted for a statement is the president of his college. That's because under normal conditions, this learned head is supposed to know all about the activities and achievements of his thousands of charges, past and present. So, at the home of Dr. William Todhunter Hall, who is the president of Ivy, and his wife Victoria, the former English actress, we find a reporter from the Ivy News, a Mr. Crane, whose first remark is...
You're the logical one to give me the information I need for a Sunday feature, Doctor. The news item has already been in the Daily. I imagine you saw it.
Whatever the news item was, Mr. Crane, it's highly unlikely that I did see it. Lately, the press of work has kept me from the press, so to speak.
But this article was about one of your students, Lesliehoff.
Lesliehoff? Oh, yes, Hoff. Hoff?
Yes. Yes, what was your reaction to the news about his award?
Well, it's quite possible that my wife can tell you even better than I how I reacted. Victoria?
Well, you were completely surprised, bowled over, flabbergasted, absolutely dumbfounded.
I think that conveys my attitude quite adequately, dear. Thank you.
Struck all of a heap. You're welcome.
Yes. I certainly am. Struck all of a...
After all, it isn't every day that an Ivy student gets an award from the National Art Foundation for his painting entitled Portrait of My Body, Drawn from Memory. Is it, dear?
Oh, yes, I see. Yes. Good heavens. No, of course it isn't. No. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you.
I guess the painting is giving the critics a field day. They're pretty divided in their opinion of it, but you know know how critics are. I think they draw lots to see who sneers and who cheers.
Well, critics are an odd breed, Mr. Crane. They seem to thrive on a reverse plan for existence. United they fall, divided they stand.
I've often heard it said that a critic is a man who gets 2 seats on the aisle, one for himself and one for his opinion of himself.
Have you seen Huff's original painting, Mrs. Hall?
No, just a reproduction. But even that captured the character and purpose that the artist gave to his subject. It's really a remarkable study. A sort of composite of all the young men who have ever fought in a war. Hope and disillusion, fear and courage. Young faces with old eyes.
Yes, it is a remarkable study. But I wondered...
Is there some question in your mind about this portrait, Mr. Crane?
Oh, no. It's just that... Well, of course, you've met Lesliehoff, haven't you, Doctor?
No, Mr. Crane. I'm afraid that, in spite of my wife's valiant effort to save me from disgrace, I'm going to be forced to admit that I know little about this matter. I've been terribly involved in other affairs.
Oh, gosh, that is a surprise, Doc. I can usually count on you. You're my personal newsreel theater.
I know, and I'm sorry to let you down. Perhaps Mrs. Hall can give you some of the information you need about this young man.
No, darling, I can't either. I don't know anything at all about him, only what he's done.
Well, then I'd suggest, Mr. Crane, that we delay this interview until tomorrow. Unless today is the deadline for your Sunday feature.
Oh, no, sir, that can wait. We never make up our Sunday paper until Thursday. We serve it hot.
Good. Vicky, suppose you call this Lesliehoff and ask him over this afternoon. Then tomorrow, I will be a veritable wellspring of information. And will probably gush forth with enough material to last for several Sunday features.
Swell. We'll appreciate any information you can give us, Doc.
All right, and we'll expect to see you tomorrow about the same time, right?
Right. Dr. Hall.
Yes?
I've been reading a lot lately about the situation in endowed colleges, that rising costs are creating something of a crisis on the educational front, and off the record, how does Ivy stand? Got any trouble?
Well, like her sister's schools, she's gained a lot of weight around the budget. But it's nothing that can't be held in shape by a good, firm foundation. Preferably a large-size endowment with a two-way stretch. Now, I really must say goodbye.
Okay, Doc. Be back tomorrow. Goodbye, Mrs. Hall. No, don't bother. I know my way out. How do you like that? A large-size foundation with a two-way stretch.
You really wowed him with your wit, Doctor.
Yes, indeed. Bob Todhunter Hope, the academic joy boy.
Yes. Let's get jivey with Ivy.
Yes, my dear, but neither joyful nor jivey, I'm afraid. After all, when a young man brings such honor to Ivy, the least I can do is to know about it. Victoria, much as I appreciate your helping me out while Mr. Crane was here, you should have told me before.
I shouldn't even have helped you.
No? Oh, why not? When you married me, my darling, didn't you promise to love, honor, and get me out of tight situations?
Yes. And you promised to keep me, cherish me, and listen to me, like when I told you all about Lesliehoff yesterday. That look of polite attention you were giving me always means you're not hearing a word. You may fool some people, Doctor, but not Tootsie Cromwell. She's quite acute. Now you're supposed to say quite acute what?
What indeed? I'm pursued for infringement by Fibber McGee. No, thank you, my dear. No, but seriously, don't you think it odd that Crane should have asked me about the state of the college? Especially since it is in such a state.
Oh, nonsense. Well, I think Mr. Crane's question was prompted by interest. And I'm not nearly as worried about the state of the college as I am about the state of its president. You need some breakfast.
Breakfast?
Well, yes, it's something you eat. A healthy little habit you seem to have gotten out of lately.
No, thank you, dear. I'm not hungry.
That's all. I'm going to be firm about this. It is now 10 o'clock, and I happen to know that you've been up since dawn. In fact, this morning you beat the rooster by a full crow.
Well, I'll just have to be more careful. It's the early worm that gets the bird.
Now, wait a minute. Where are you going?
Well, back to my study, to wage bitter battle with the budget. To see if our sinking fund is going down for the third time.
All right, but you're going to have breakfast. I'll bring you some on a tray.
No, darling, really. I couldn't eat a thing.
Buttered toast, dear. That fifth piece was a little dry.
No more, thank you, darling, but I do feel much better. I can now tackle the famous Hall method for reducing the cost of running a campus with renewed energy and vigor. Oh, did you call Lesliehoff?
I wasn't able to reach him. I'll keep trying. It's strange. I don't believe I've ever heard of him before this award. And he's an extremely talented young man. I know I've never seen him.
Mr. Hoff is an artist. He probably spends his time starving to death in the garret of some first-rate fraternity house.
No. He lives at one of the cooperatives. Which one, I don't know. At any rate, he won't have to starve any longer. That award carried substantial cash value.
Which is what all good awards should carry. Cash, or some valuable tribute which is readily negotiable at a pawn shop.
No mood, dear. I get it.
I've often wondered if the 3 golden apples over a pawn shop door represented the fruits of improvidence. Or did the Medicis, those Florentine loan sharks, believe...
It's for you, Toddy. Mr. Wellman, and he sounds quite happy for a change.
Oh. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to be alarmed about. He probably just heard that his best friend took a heavy loss on the stock market. Or that an aging aunt just had her mortgage foreclosed. I should think he... Hello? Dr. Hall speaking.
Dr. Hall, I have news.
Well, that's good, I hope.
It is good news. That is excellent news. Have you ever heard of Wilma Marshall?
Well, good heavens, did she win an award, too?
What's that? Did she what?
Oh, it's nothing. Go ahead, Mr. Wellman. What about Wilma Marshall?
Mrs. Marshall is calling on you this afternoon.
Calling on me? But I don't think I know her. And you must realize that I'm very busy.
Not too busy to see Mrs. Marshall. The reason for her visit to you, Dr. Hall, is to discuss an endowment, a gift, which she proposes to make to Ivy.
Well, you don't say so. Is she an alumna?
No, she's never attended Ivy. However, she wishes to give us $500,000, Dr. Hall.
She would... $500,000?
Yes. And since I won't be able to be there, other matters, I hope you will choose to be reasonable.
Well, why should I be unreasonable about $500,000 gift?
That's it. Why should you?
I seldom fly into a rage over donations of that magnitude.
There is no cause for levity, Doctor. Particularly now, when we all know that Ivy can use it. The money, I mean.
Now, wait, Mr. Wellman. What is wrong?
Mrs. Marshall will discuss the matter with you. The board only ask that you be, far-sighted in the matter. I'm sure you will, if you know what's good for you. Goodbye, Dr. Hall.
Goodbye, Mr. Wellman. Well.
What is it, Toddy? Or is it anything you can discuss with a wife?
This afternoon, we are going to receive a visit from a Mrs. Wilma Marshall.
Well, that's nice. Do we know her?
No, but as Wellman said, we will. Remember that good, firm foundation I spoke of earlier?
The large size endowment for the two-way stretch? Yes. Oh, Toddy, you don't mean that Mrs. Marshall is coming here to give us a fitting?
Better than that. She's about to girdle us with $500,000.
Well, that ought to help put things in shape. Oh, darling, I'm so glad. What a break for you.
I hope so. Only I'm awfully afraid, Vicky, that this girdle is the old-fashioned kind. You know, the kind with strings.
When there's beer on your mind, your best thought is Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous. More people like the taste of Schlitz than any other beer. That's why Schlitz is the largest selling beer in America.
If you're the sort of person to whom the pleasures of the palate are as much a part of good living as an automobile or a 2-week vacation, then more than likely you'll recall your first taste of Schlitz beer. There's something about the taste of this great beer that people never forget. And a reason for it, one of many reasons, is this: extra mellowing. Yes, for the taste you remember with pleasure, Schlitz beer is mellowed 3 times. First,
Schlitz ages the barley till it's just right for malting.
Second,
Schlitz ages the malt till it's just right for brewing.
Third,
Schlitz ages the beer till it's just right for you.
This extra mellowing has such wonderful results that more people like the taste of Schlitz than any other beer. This extra mellowing helps to explain why Schlitz is the largest selling beer in America. It's mid-afternoon now at Ivy, and we find Dr. Hall and his wife Victoria in the living room of their home on Faculty Row, anxiously awaiting the arrival of Mrs. Wilma Marshall, a prospective donor to the college.
Where can she be? She's over an hour late.
Oh, I'm sure she'll get here, dear. After all, how fast can you walk carrying $500,000?
Incidentally, did I tell you I was finally able to reach Lesliehoff? He'll be over this afternoon.
Fine.
And Toddy, guess what?
Wait a minute, Vicky. There's a car coming. No, past us. Now, what were you saying, dear?
I was going to tell you that...
Vicky, wait, excuse me, wait.
Another car?
Yes. No. Yes, it's stopping here. Ha-ha. Vicky, how do I look?
Like $1 million.
Well, I'll settle for $500,000.
You are excited about this, aren't you?
Excited? Of course not. Seeing $500,000 walking up the path doesn't even give me a tremor. Look, see? Steady arms, steady hands. Whoops, steady haul, there she is. Oh, she does look formidable, doesn't she? Like a Cunard liner, needing 6 or 8 tugs to nudge her into her slip.
What an indelicate remark.
What? Oh, slip, yes. Well, I meant in a nautical sense, of course.
Well, it was, too. Very nautical. After this, I wish we'd be a little more... Ah, she blows. I'll man the gangway and pipe her aboard.
Don't let go the tow rope until she's tied up to the dock. That's precious cargo. Oh.
Yeah, indeed. I'll be right back.
Vicky. I love you. Don't think how life would have been if we hadn't met. Yes, it were all one that I should love a bright particular star and think to wed it. Remember who wrote those lines, my darling? It was a countryman of yours, a man named...
Dr. William Hall.
No, dear, William Shakespeare. Oh, I beg your pardon.
William, this is Mrs. Marshall.
How do you do? I'm afraid I was daydreaming a little when you...
I quite understand, Dr. Hall.
Yes, of course. Sit down, won't you?
Thank you. I presume Mr. Wellman told you why I'm making this visit?
Yes, he did mention the reason.
Then I suppose you're wondering why I decided to make an endowment to this particular college.
I rarely question the motives which prompt such generous acts, Mrs. Marshall. My curiosity is usually smothered in gratitude.
I have here a small reproduction of a painting. Are you familiar with it, Dr. Hall?
May I see it? No, I don't believe that I am.
William, that's Lesliehoff's painting, the one that received the award.
Of course.
Yes, portrait of my body drawn from memory. This, Doctor, is the reason I propose to make a gift to Ivy College.
But I don't quite... do you know the artist, this Lesliehoff?
I haven't the slightest idea who he is.
I must confess, Mrs. Marshall, that I'm a little confused if you don't know him.
The painting is of a boy I knew well. My son, Gene Marshall.
Oh.
He was killed in the war.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's over now, and I'm not asking for sympathy. The point is that Gene's friend, his buddy, is a student at Ivy. Because of that, my donation to the school will be made in my son's name.
But didn't Gene, your son, have a school of his own, where his name might be more appropriately perpetuated?
No. He was always tutored. Gene was a shy boy. He was rather afraid of people. He didn't make friends easily. And the acquaintances he did make were hardly fit to... Well, I thought it advisable to keep him at home.
I see.
Is this portrait of Lesliehoff's a good likeness of your boy, Mrs. Marshall?
No. Well, it's unmistakably his face. But it hides a man... A man I don't know. Can never hope to know.
May I see the picture again, Mrs. Marshall? I haven't had a chance to look at it closely.
Why, certainly. Here, Doctor.
It's a striking portrait, isn't it? Interesting. The lower part of the face is almost obliterated by shadow, all but just a portion of the mouth. And the eyes, the highlighting of the eyes is quite remarkable. But how well Hoff has brought out the qualities of a young man who has suddenly found himself. It's a portrait of a boy who has come to the end of a dream and who is shocked at having slept so long.
Dr. Hall, I believe that the young man who made this portrait really knew my son. possessed a knowledge about him that his own mother never had.
Well, there are few friendships as strong as those founded on great dangers shared.
And I imagine you'd like to meet Lesliehoff.
Well, I've given that much thought, Mrs. Hall. I believe now that I should like to meet him.
It was splendid because he's coming here this afternoon.
Oh, but... Well, I wish I'd known. I'm afraid it'll be difficult.
Oh, probably not as difficult as you think, Mrs. Marshall. Surely there must have been a great bond between Jean and Lesliehoff. I think it will give you a good deal of satisfaction to meet him.
Yes, but let's get to the point of the endowment, Dr. Hall. It's not a thing I care to discuss in front of others.
No, of course it isn't. I find that reticence in these matters is not unusual, Mrs. Marshall.
I came prepared to write a check for $500,000 in the name of Ivy College.
Oh, William, isn't that wonderful?
If one condition can be agreed upon, Dr. Hall.
And what is that condition?
My money must absolutely not be used to provide scholarships for certain races and creeds.
Oh, no.
If you know what I mean.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Marshall. I do know what you mean.
And you're making this donation in the name of a son who died for the principle of equality?
We don't have to discuss this further, Mrs. Hall. I'm sure that Ivy College can find use for my money in such a way as not to violate the terms of acceptance. Isn't that so, Dr. Hall?
No, Mrs. Marshall, it isn't. I cannot accept it under the conditions you impose.
I beg your pardon?
Even if I were inclined to close my eyes and my ears and my mind to your stipulation, which I am not, the founding fathers of this college would rise in righteous anger. The cornerstone of this institution was laid when this nation was young, when the concept of personal freedom and individual integrity was fiercely defended and willingly died for. It is the principle with which this school was inaugurated. That principle is not for sale, Mrs. Marshall, not even for $500,000.
Very well, then. That's that. We won't discuss it further. I'll be going, Doctor.
No, but surely you'll wait and see, Lesliehoff. I hope you won't let my refusal interfere with your meeting your son's friend.
Yeah, that must be him now. Shall I go, dear?
No, I would rather. Mrs. Marshall, will you excuse me?
Surely.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Doctor. I'm Lesliehoff.
Well, come in. Come in. I'm glad to see you. And congratulations on a fine piece of work. Ivy's proud of you, and so am I.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Do you have company? Am I interrupting?
No, not at all. In fact, I'm extremely happy you're here. Our guest is someone I know you'll want to meet. Jean Marshall's mother.
Jean Marshall? Oh, is that someone I'm supposed to know, Doctor?
Well, I should think so.
I'm afraid when it comes to names, sir, my memory's not so good. I don't think I know who Jean Marshall is.
But you're painting that portrait.
Oh, the boy. So that's his name. Jean Marshall. Dr. Hall, I never knew. To me, he was the boy.
Well, this is a turn of events I didn't quite anticipate. Come with me, Leslie. I want to introduce you to the boy's mother.
If you don't mind, sir, I'd rather not.
Well, why not?
Well, the boy, Jean, did you say?
Uh-huh.
Talked a lot about his mother. I think it would only upset her to know that I was her son's friend. No, I don't think it would be wise for me to meet her.
Well, of course, that's up to you, Leslie, but if you'll trust my judgment, I think it would be the wisest thing you ever did.
All right, if you say so, Dr. Hall. Let's go.
Good. Come on, follow me. Victoria, this is Lesliehoff.
Hello.
My wife, Leslie, and this is Mrs. Marshall, Jean's mother.
You are Lesliehoff.
When we spoke earlier today on the phone, Leslie, I didn't have a chance to tell you how terribly proud we were to hear of your award and how much we like the painting. It's superb.
I'm pleased that you like it, Mrs. Hall. Mrs. Marshall, I value your opinion, too. Well, please don't hesitate to be frank.
How long did you know my son?
Well, just one night, ma'am. One long, long night. It was during a raid. We were both running for cover. We hit the same foxhole.
You only knew him one night?
There are times during a war, Mrs. Marshall, when one night can be as long as eternity.
That's right, Doctor. And this particular night seemed an eternity. You get to know a man pretty well when time crowds you like that. When death is sitting in the game, you sort of like to lay all your cards on the table.
I know. I had a friend once who said you talked about everything, anything, to cover up the fact that you were scared.
And did you talk together? You and Jean?
Yes, we talked. The boy told me about you, Mrs. Marshall, and I told him about my mother. He described his ancestors, I described mine. He was proud of his great-grandfather who fought in the Civil War. I was proud of mine who was freed by it. We even exchanged recipes, believe it or not. Got ourselves so hungry we could hardly stand it. It's funny the things you talk about in the foxhole. Your boy grew into a great man that night, Mrs. Marshall. I sat and watched him, his face half hidden in shadows. Only the nose and eyes lighted by the enemy flares. And I listened to him tell of the things he planned to do when he got out of the war. They were good things.
And you never saw him again after that night?
No, Mrs. Hall, never again.
It's amazing that you could paint a picture of a man you saw only by gunfire.
I'll never forget how he looked. The portrait was only an attempt to immortalize a man whose name I never knew, but to whom I owed everything.
What do you mean by that?
There was an enemy patrol. The noise covered their approach. I'll never know exactly what happened. I suppose you never do. But the boy was my buddy. I'll spare you the details. But you see, ma'am, he gave his life, saving mine.
Toddy, is Mrs. Marshall gone?
Yes, dear, she just left.
Ah, what a lonely woman. I didn't think I could ever feel sorry for her. But I do. Awfully sorry. Don't you?
Not anymore, darling. I think she learned a great lesson in understanding today.
You do? I wonder. She was... What's that you got in your hand?
This is the proof, Vicky. A check for $500,000 made out to Ivy College. No strings attached. I guess she discovered that life itself is a little like a college. You don't learn much by attending only one class.
When there's beer on your mind, your best thought is Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous. More people like the taste of Schlitz than any other beer. That's why Schlitz is the largest selling beer in America.
Before we hear again from Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman, ladies and gentlemen, I have an important announcement. Last week, we announced that our sponsor, the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, had wired President Truman that Schlitz would be very happy to ship 600,000 cans of their fine beer to our boys in Korea. We've just been informed by Archibald S. Alexander, Under Secretary of the Army, that this offer has been accepted.
That's splendid, Ken.
And our best wishes go with it.
Yes, indeed, and our hopes for a speedy return. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
We'll be seeing you next week at this same time at the Halls of Ivy, starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Colvin. Tonight, the part of Lesliehoff was played by James Edwards, whose great performance in Stanley Kramer's Home of the Brave won him national acclaim. He's just completed his latest role in the Universal International picture, Lights Out. Mr. Wellman is played by Herbert Butterfield. The other players were Lois Corbett and Jerry Hausner. Tonight's script was written by Cameron Blake and Don Quinn. Our music was composed and conducted by Henry Russell. The Halls of Ivy was created by Don Quinn, directed by Nat Wolf, and presented by the Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ken Carpenter speaking.
The Adventures of the Great Gildersleeve on NBC.
It isn't Evelyn and her magic violin, Kitty.
The Fred Allen Show with Fred's guest Gregory Ratoff, Thornton Hopper, Minerva Pius as Mrs. Nussbaum, the DeMarco sisters, and Al Goodman and his orchestra. And if you ever want to have me paid, my name is Kenny Delmar. Tonight we bring you the Man of the Year for 1929, a bad year. And here he is, Fred Allen.
Everybody from Missouri is coming to Washington. Covered wagons are leaving Kansas City on the half hour.
Well, who's left in Missouri, Fred?
Well, nobody, Kenny. Next year, Missouri isn't going to bother electing a governor. They're just going to hire a caretaker to walk through the state with a lantern one night a week, I hear. Our friends in Allen's Alley will be nickeled to death in theaters tonight.
Have you a question?
Wait a minute. Let me read that again. Our friends will be nickeled to death. No, it's the line. I thought it was my reading. Joe Portland. We'd be better off just showing up with some blank paper here. And so our question tonight is, how do you feel about Mayor LaGuardia's return to private life?
Shall we go?
As the man said when he saw the lighted cigarette on the floor, let's step on it. Gosh, Portland, it's good to be back in Allen's Alley. Well, let's see what Titus Moody is up to tonight.
Howdy, Bob.
Say, Mr. Moody, you look shorter tonight.
First time I ever wore a union suit and stockings.
Well, what makes you look shorter?
Trying to keep up my stockings.
Your stockings?
Yeah. This little door hangs down on the back of the union suit. And when I button that door onto my stockings,
yes,
it pulls me down 6 inches.
It'll do it every time. Well, Mr. Moody, what do you think about Mayor LaGuardia leaving office?
Why, he's been a good mayor, what there is of him.
Well, what kind of work do you think he should go in for?
He'd be a good man on a farm, Bub.
Well, how do you mean?
He's the only man I know that can milk a cow standing up.
Tell me, Mr. Moody, do you think the mayor is sorry to go?
Oh, I know just how he feels, Bub.
You do, huh?
Yeah, I used to be mayor in my town.
You were the mayor?
Yeah, but I wasn't no LaGuardia.
You mean,
After working around the farm for 30 years...
Yes?
I didn't smell like no little flower. Go on now.
It's too bad Mr. Moody isn't sheriff. He could pinch himself and see if he's awake. Well, let's see what happens at this next house.
No.
Ah, Mrs. Nussbaum. Tell me, Mrs. Nussbaum, how do you feel about Mayor LaGuardia retiring from City Hall?
I'm writing about Mayor LaGuardia's farewell poem.
A farewell poem. How does your ode to the mayor go?
I'm reciting it.
Fine.
The time is coming, Fiorella, to saying goodbye to you. For 12 long years in office, progress was your goal. But there is yet a housing shortage, and the subways fell in the hole. On your radio program Sunday, you were in a fighting mood, cracking down on gamblers and bookies, shouting patience with fortitude. You explained to us the OPA, told us bargains to get by Macy's, gave recipes for pasta fazool. You also read Dick Tracy. The City Hall you are leaving. To you our hats we doff. Goodbye, dear Mayor LaGuardia. Good luck and mazel tov.
And as the sun As the sun slowly sinks behind our beloved mayor, we say adieu to City Hall and turn to the 5 DeMarco sisters. The girls, accompanied by Maestro Al Goodman and the Staff Sanitation Department Symphony, sing Let It Snow.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful, and since there's no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. With icy don't signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping, sound like a good way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, now I ain't going out in the storm, but if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. The fire is slowly dying, and the dear will still goodbye. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the sun. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is dying, and my dear will still goodbye. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. I don't care, let it snow, let it snow.
Maestro Al Goodman and his Fanny Farmer Fusiliers have just played a few sweet bars of symphony. And now, say, Portland,
Yes?
have you an aspirin?
An aspirin?
Something's wrong with my stomach.
If you button your coat, nobody'll notice it.
Now, wait. Never mind that Eddie Cantor comedy. I am in agony.
What's wrong?
Well, tomorrow night, I am going on information, please, with Gregory Ratoff. You know, the big director at 20th Century Fox? And yesterday, Mr. Ratoff gave me 2 passes for the Roxy Theater to see the new 20th Century Fox picture, Leave It to Heaven. It was wonderful. Technicolor and
How did you get sick?
Well, after I left the Roxy, Mr. Ratoff invited me to meet him for a Russian dinner at a little restaurant in the village called the Shashlik Shanty. Well, I went down to the Shashlik Shanty. As I walked in the door, the Gypsy Orchestra was just finishing a number. They had a noisy clientele at the shanty. Well, as I looked around, I heard a voice saying,
"Waiter, I want this dinner should be colossal, terrific, sensational."
"Anything else, sir?"
"Yes. Also, the food should be fit to eat."
Gregory Ratoff. Say, you look excited, Gregory.
I am just ordering the dinner.
And how I'm looking forward to it, Gregory.
Fred, have you ever eaten a Russian meal?
Plenty of food, huh?
A Russian banquet is like a 6-day bicycle race, only with Thomas.
Well, what happened?
Well, before the dinner starts, we drink a toast to the chef.
Fine.
Then we are drinking a toast to each individual guest.
I see.
Next, a toast to all of the friends of the guests who are not there at the banquet.
That's a nice gesture.
Then we drink a toast to the friends of the friends who are not there.
Say, this sounds like a testimonial dinner to W.C. Field. How many more toasts are there?
Well, we drink a toast to all of the toasts we have done. And then the banquet begins.
You start with the food, eh?
Yeah. First, you are getting the zakuta. In English, this is hors d'oeuvre.
Caviar?
Caviar is for the waiter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the guests are having pickled mushrooms, pickled melt, pickled cabbage, pickled herring, pickled pancakes, pickled eggs, and pickled kumquat.
Pickled kumquats, eh? Well, after all those toasts, the guests must be pickled, too. Tell me, what comes next?
All kind of soup.
What kind?
Pork. boy. You see, borscht is a deep soup with sour cream.
I see.
Oh.
Well, what is that smetana with sour cream?
That is sour cream with, on the top, more sour cream.
Well, fine. So tell me, do you have fish with a Russian dinner?
First, they are serving you 2 big cucumbers. This must be. It's a tradition.
You have to have 2 big cucumbers, eh? Why?
Well, for this you are getting on the plate a live sturgeon.
A live sturgeon?
Yeah. You are beating the sturgeon to death with the 2 cucumbers.
This is some dinner.
Well, for the next course, the meat, you are standing up.
You're standing up? Well, what is the meat course?
Take polar bear in the jacket.
Polar bear in the jacket, eh? And you say you have to stand?
Well, the bear is served reading up on his hind legs with kidney beans.
Well, don't tell me that each diner gets an individual polar bear.
Oh, no. It is 4 people to a bear.
Oh, 4 people to a bear.
Yeah, you start with the bear feet and you reach it up as far as you can reach.
A short guest is out of luck, then.
Well, it's better to be tall. Or reaching farther up on the bear.
Well, what comes with the bear, Gregory?
Oh, all kinds of side dishes, wheel omelets, boiled potatoes with raspberry jam, raw eggplant, walrus on casserole, penguin gratin, pot roast stuffed with meatballs, and back with cake, with plenty of corn syrup.
This ends the meal?
Oh, no. After this, you're heading to dessert.
Oh, dessert? Well, what is dessert?
A lot of pumpernickel floating lazily in a heaping bowl of honey.
Yum, yum.
Well, on the top of the pumpernickel is a big gob of whipped cream.
Oh, that's fine.
Well, this you are washing down with a piping hot glass of tea.
Say, a Russian dinner must be wonderful, Gregory. What are we having here at the Shashlik Shanty tonight?
Ham and eggs.
Ham and eggs?
Ah, that Russian food ruins my stomach. I'm always taking Alka-Seltzer.
Oh, really? How do people in Russia know about Alka-Seltzer?
Lend-Lease.
Oh, Lend-Lease. Well, you and I are going to be on Information Police tomorrow night. Greg, I wonder what questions they'll ask you.
Who knows? I hope it is something about Russia and the Big Three.
Well, Russia is certainly progressing. They're copying American mass production methods, automobiles, iceboxes.
Russia is behind the times in only one thing, the radio.
You mean they have no radio programs over there like ours?
When I go to Russia, I would like to take some American programs with me.
Say, that's a great idea. American radio should be a novelty in Russia.
Say, how about the Smiling Irishman? Do you think the Smiling Irishman would suffer in the translation?
Suffer in the translation? Well, in Russia, you might have to call him the snickering Siberian, the chuckling Caucasian, or the jolly Georgian. But here's a commercial, Gregory. Let's see how the Smiling Irishman would sound in Moscow.
Добрый вечер, дорогие друзья и товарищи, мамочка моя дорогая. Это ваш старый друг и приятель. Если вам нужны деньги, привозите вас в Chevrolet. Всегда помните, что у вас есть всегда Юскар. И от меня вы всегда получите топ-прайсов. Не забывайте, что я переехал в новое место, куда вы можете приехать на вашем автомобиле. 271 Литвинов Бульвар in the back. Не забывайте вашего старого друга, Дальнаций Литвак, Коля Литвак.
Tell me, what other type program do you think they might like in Russia?
News commentators. The Russians are crazy about the gossip.
Well, for gossip, there's only one guy. Now, here's how he might sound in Russia. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Soviet Russia and all the autonomous republics. This is your Moscow correspondent, Valdovich Winchelkovich. Let's go to press. Moscow, Russia. What assistant district manager of what tractor combine is making a fool of himself over that little blonde steel puddler from Kharkov? They were seen necking near the Nipa hydroelectric dam Friday night. More power to them. It's a blessed event for the Sergei Menshevik. He is the former Miss Collective Farms for 1937. He is the crossword puzzle editor and financial advisor of Pravda. And Orchid's plant superintendent S. Tarnowski. He is responsible for this month's sensational 30% rise in the production of balalaika picks. This is the same Tarnowski who only last year won the Shostakovich Award for his outstanding work on trombone valves. And now to answer the mail as the time allows. Nikolai Petrovich, 327 Potemkin Plaza, Smolensk. So are you, comrade. Well, that's all for tonight, Tavarsky. This is Mrs. Winkelkovich's boy Moldovich saying, be proud you are a Russian. Because when you are a Russian, you are a Russian. Well, that should keep Moscow up to date, Gregory.
You know, I wonder if that was the same little stupid paddler from Kharkov who went to the Dnieper Dam with me in 1912. Oh, no, it couldn't be. Should be 85 years old now.
Oh, man. Well, Gregory, can you think of any other American programs the Russian folks would go for?
Yes, Fred. Serial.
Serial? Do you really think they like serial programs over there?
With all that suffering and tragedy, they will go crazy for the serial, Fred.
Really?
A true Russian is never so happy as when he's unhappy.
Well, all right, Gregory. Now, here is how a Russian serial might sound. And now we present Just Plain Misha.
When we left Just Plain Misha yesterday, he was in a sorry plight. He had 24 hours to decide whether he should marry Masha Kotopkin, the poor little gypsy girl who saved his life when his threshing machine bundled him into a bale of hay. Or marry wealthy Sonia Grumskin, daughter of Commissar Grumskin. Life with Masha will be poverty, black bread and skimmed milk. Life with Sonia will be luxury, seltzer water, anchovies, and rich food. It is hard to choose. Today we find Just Plain Misha at the door of Masha Kotopkin's hut. Misha knocks. Masha opens the door.
Misha!
Masha!
Come in, Misha.
Спасибо, Masha.
The family is all here waiting, Misha.
Waiting for what, Masha?
The inevitable. In Russia, what else is there to wait for?
Yeah, only the inevitable.
Ничего, Misha.
Ничего, Masha. Oh. Who is mourning, Masha?
Grandpa Boris, the old one. His leg is in the fire.
Why doesn't he move?
Why doesn't he move? Why should he move? He lives here. True, Misha.
True, Masha. Grandpa Boris is mourning again.
His other leg is in the fire.
He is cremating himself.
At least he is warm. Leave him.
You have plenty of trouble, Masha.
Trouble, Mister. There is no food. The mice are eating each other.
A man just looked out of the oven.
It is Uncle Igor. We are having him for dinner. Everything is trouble, Mister.
I have more trouble for you, Masha.
More trouble, Mister?
Yes, Masha. Our wedding is off. I am going to marry Sonia.
Well, life is a pill. You swallow it. Drink a glass tea, Mister.
I am drinking, Masha.
Now you are having trouble, Mister.
Trouble, Masha?
The tea is poison, Mister.
A black year on you, Masha.
You are angry, Mister.
Serving me poison tea I could overlook.
Da, Mister.
But this is Russia. When you serve tea without lemon, you should drop dead.
I will.
Oh. Big it. Goodbye, Bublitsky, and I'll miss you, Masha.
Well, those serials would be great in Russia, Gregory. People would be killing themselves off. You'd have a new family on the air every other day. Well, I guess that takes care of most of your problems, Greg, old boy.
Just one more thing, Fred.
Another program?
Jingles. I would like to introduce some of these singing jingles to Russia.
All right. When jingles hit the Moscow network, you'll hear something like this. Vodka Cola is a new drink that is good for the proletariat. For only a ruble you get a lot. Vodka Cola hits the spot. Ruble, 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 ruble.
Allen will be back again next week. And now we take you to the Cafe Zanzibar for the music of Duke Ellington. You heard the joyous Carol singing that one. That was Riff Staccato. Now Duke Ellington's vocalist Albert Hibbert to the microphone with Johnny Hodges in the alto saxophone background. Every hour on the hour.
I fall in love with you. Every minute on the minute, another dream comes true. Every second that you hear me, the thrill is still the same. For the first time I see you, before I knew your name. We don't have to be together for me to feel your touch. Just the thought of you can make me want you so much. Every second, every minute, you're in my heart and there. Every hour on the hour, I fall in love vocalist was Albert Hitler. Now, this next one is not a novelty tune. This title certainly is. Here comes Harlem Air Shaft.